Inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
Thursday edition of the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill. We are coming up not just on the weekend, but an important weekend in Philadelphia sports. We are counting down the days, the MLB trade deadline. Training camps are full of buzz around the NFL. Plus, you know, a lot to look forward to. Next the NFL season, the second half of baseball season with the Phillies. By the way, I'm not reading much into the Mets win last night or the fact that the Yankees fired Ben Tendy for their prospects. But I'll tell you what it means for the Phillies coming up in just a bit. Here's what we got on the show today. Scott Lauber, Phillies beat reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer at 2:25. Andy McNamara from Sportsnet will join me coming up at 3 p.m. Football at 4 with InsideTheBirds.com Eagles writer Andrew DiCecco at 4 p.m. And Katie Mox, she is the host of Mox Bets, a part of Omaha Productions and ESPN Podcast, their Pod Center. She'll join us coming up at 5:25. And you out there can join the conversation, 609-403-0973 is the text board. You can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. You know, one of the things we discussed yesterday, I'll get to the Philly stuff a little bit later in this segment, but I want to start with the NFL because we had a conversation, myself and Ryan Rothstein yesterday, and it in part had to do with the quarterback position. And one of the things Ryan and I were talking about was the it factor, the intangible elements that make quarterbacks great, make them who they are. Well, Kyler Murray spoke to the media today, and he felt it was important to discuss what people have been saying about him and the clause in his contract. And while he never really answers the question about the clause in the contract, he had a couple things to say that I want to bring to you guys out there who haven't heard the audio or see it, because he talked about how some of the comments have been disrespectful, because apparently he was on special schedule. He was not on the media schedule for today, but he went out of his way to go up there and speak to the media with some presented thoughts and comments. And first of all, before I play the audio, I want to say that Kyler Murray, I give him a lot of credit for being willing to, you know, kind of speak off the cuff, not speak with a teleprompter up there about what he wanted to say, what he wants out there. But I think there's a very important takeaway from what he said today, because what he said today, I think, is going to explain a lot about when we talk about who the best quarterbacks in the NFL are, who has the it factor. You know, The Athletic had the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 article about quarterbacks. Well, listen to what Kyler Murray said. Remember, Kyler Murray is going to be getting $160 million guaranteed. He has the chance to make up to $230.5 million. He's the one who has a clause in his contract that requires him every game week to have a minimum of 4 hours of preparation and study outside of the facility. And he can't watch video. He can't play video games. He can't watch TV shows or movies. He can't be surfing the internet while he is doing this preparation on game week. This was Kyler Murray just about an hour, about maybe like hour, 20 minutes ago, speaking to the media.
Regarding me and the things that are being said about me, it's almost, to think that I can accomplish everything that I've accomplished in my career, and not be a student of the game, and not have that passion, not take this serious. It's almost disrespectful, and it's almost a joke. It's, to me, it's I'm flattered I'm honestly flattered that y'all think that at my size I can go out there and not prepare for the game and not, not take it serious. It's disrespectful, I feel like, to my peers, to all the great athletes and great players that are in this league. This game's too hard. To play the position that I play in this league, it's too hard. And I don't do this often. I don't talk about myself, but today I feel like I have to. And so I'm gonna list the accolades. To go 43-0 in high school in Texas. Some are gonna say, "Oh, it's high school. That's cool," but nobody else has done it. Go to college, win the Heisman, get drafted number 1 overall to the NFL, get drafted number 9 overall to MLB. Again, no one's ever done it. Offensive Rookie of the Year, 2-time Pro Bowler. And I'm not 6'7", 230. I don't throw the ball 85 yards. I'm already behind the 8 ball, and I can't afford to take these shortcuts. No pun intended. But those things you can't accomplish if you don't take the game serious, if you don't prepare the right way. And it's like I said, it's laughable. But to the film side of things, there's multiple different ways to watch film.
That's all you need to hear. Okay. And he goes on this whole explanation about how, he prefers to watch film with the other quarterbacks and his coaches. He doesn't like to do it as much on his own. Okay, fine. So here's the deal. Kyler Murray felt the need to go out of his way to make this statement today. And it's way longer than that. We're talking about like 4 minutes of him talking. I only played a minute and a half of him talking. So, but the gist of it is what he said, whether you think Kyler Murray is a good quarterback, whether you think Kyler Murray has the talent to be a future Hall of Famer or a future MVP, whatever you think of Kyler Murray, there's something he said in there that is essential to when we talk about the quarterback position. I was explaining to everybody yesterday with Ryan here on the show, Ryan Rothstein for the Philadelphia CityCast. Ryan will be back on tomorrow. That this narrative that people put out there when they text into the Sports Bash here at 609-403-0973, when they DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle, when they tweet at 973 ESPN or at Josh Hennig on Twitter. When you put your voice out there, you the listener, you the fan, whoever you may be, whether you're sitting in your car, whether you're sitting in front of your computer, whether you're going for a walk, whether you're at the beach, I'm glad you're listening to me. But when you talk to me, whether it's I'm on the radio or you meet me in person at the local establishment, you see me around wherever I may be, and you say to me, Jalen Hurts sucks and he can't read defenses. Those comments are completely and utterly insane. If you want to tell me that Kyler Murray is too short to be a franchise quarterback, if you want to tell me that Jalen Hurts doesn't have the processing skills to be an elite quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, if you want to tell me that Lamar Jackson doesn't have the quarterback skill set, the mechanics to be as good as, for example, Matthew Stafford, right? Or if you want to tell me that Zach Wilson or Daniel Jones or Tua Tagovailoa or any of these guys don't have the football IQ of, let's say, Russell Wilson, those are all opinions that are based in something that is tangible. But to get up there and start questioning these guys' just basic fundamental football skills is ignorant. And so when we have a conversation about what quarterback has the it factor, who has the most intangibles, what is the difference between Tom Brady to Matthew Stafford and from Matthew Stafford to Ryan Tannehill, there are tiers, there are layers to these things. So anytime anyone will text in at 609-403-0973, or if you DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle, and you tell me that, and I got to find the text from yesterday because that's kind of what set this all off. When the person was trying to say that, Jalen Hurts, he stinks, or exactly, here it is. Jalen Hurts stinks, and everyone will see that this year. The team is built to win, but sadly, Jalen can't read a defense. When you say things like that, as to steal the words from Kyler Murray, it's disrespectful. Because all of these guys don't stink if they play in the NFL. There's different layers, there's different tiers, there's different variables that go into this. Kyler Murray showed you today two things. One, that he is not afraid to speak his mind, and I respect him immensely for that. Again, whatever you think of Kyler Murray as a quarterback and his potential and his maturity, at the end of the day, he's got bigger stones and a stronger spine than half the pro athletes out there that go out there without a script and just speak to the media off the cuff in an unplanned media session. On the flip side, though, it does show a level of why people like myself differentiate between a Kyler Murray and a Russell Wilson. How people like me will differentiate between an Aaron Rodgers and a Matthew Stafford. Because yes, everyone studies tape. Yes, everyone puts in countless hours of work. Yes, everyone has talent to play in the NFL. Yes, everyone has something about them physically and mentally that allows them to play the quarterback position, and that doesn't allow me or most of you out there, I'm assuming most of you out there, listen to the sound of my voice, have never played quarterback in the NFL, but the reason why most people don't ever reach that level, it's because these guys have something that nobody else does. And it's the same kinds of things that differentiate, Albert Einstein from the guy who teaches science at a high school. It's the same things that differentiate the people who are the best at what they do from the people who are not the best at what they do. You have to have something to make you great. And Kyler Murray is right. It's disrespectful to turn around and say, fill in the blank stinks. All these guys can read defenses. Andrew K. May, I understand what you're saying. You're pointing to the fact that Mahomes, his comments after he won a Super Bowl, but he didn't mean I literally can't read a defense. If Patrick Mahomes literally couldn't read a defense, he couldn't play college football, because the prerequisite of almost every college football offense is pre-snap, observe the defense, and you're typically given one or two plays. Play A, play B. You read what the defense is showing you. You tell the huddle what we're going to do. Post-snap, you have option 1, option 2, option 3, and you either have to run or get rid of the ball. Literally, that's reading a defense. So what Mahomes and guys like him are talking about is not literally reading a defense. As the expert on literal versus not literal, I can tell you there's a difference, all right? Literally, Patrick Mahomes can read a defense. Metaphorically, what Patrick Mahomes means is I can't read a defense at the level of Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and these other guys who have had decades of doing it a certain way. Because guess what? Mahomes, who was coached by Cliff Kingsbury, was, like most college quarterbacks, put at a disadvantage before they ever came to the NFL. The disadvantage is that most of these guys are not taught how to run an offense. They are taught how to execute said offense on game day within a certain set of parameters. So, for example, like someone like myself who would play defense, okay, if I'm playing the safety and pre-snap, I'm showing as a cover 2 deep. I'm about 15 yards off the line of scrimmage. Let's say it's even maybe 20 yards off the line of scrimmage. And as the quarterback is going through his 722 hot, his whole, thing, I start creeping up from that 15, 20 yards back to now I'm almost 10 yards, 8 yards, and the quarterback sees me and he makes a call, change the protection, bring a guy in motion. That's called reading a defense. So we got to stop, taking some of these things and out of context with them. And Andrew and K-May brings up a great point. Even Patrick Mahomes is guilty of not verbalizing these things properly. And part of the conversation with Kyler Murray isn't that he doesn't study. It's that, Kyler, why would a team need to put this clause into your contract if you're already doing what they deem is enough work? In Kyler's mind, he's putting in the work, doing the steps, as Bob said in the movie, What About Bob? I'm doing the work, I'm doing the steps. He's doing everything that he thinks he needs to do. But apparently, the team thinks he needs to do more, and he agreed with that and signed on the dotted line. But there are plenty of quarterbacks in the NFL that don't need that clause in their contract. They don't need somebody to tell them, you got to spend more time outside the facility preparing for game day. We've all heard the infamous story of Carson Wentz's then fiance, future wife, telling him to put the tablet down and come eat dinner, right? There's these stories about guys like Russell Wilson being told by his wife, Sierra, hey, you gotta stop studying film and come to dinner or come spend time with your kid. There's stories, legendary stories about how Giselle has had to, rein Tom Brady's obsessive work ethic in, or Peyton Manning's, his family telling him, Peyton, take a time out, reel it in a little bit. That's what we're talking about when we look at Kyler Murray and say, man, why do you need that clause in your contract? And that gets back to the it factor conversation from yesterday. The guys who have the best and highest elite level intangibles are the ones who go around and don't need a clause like that in their contract. They're the ones that when you look in their eyes in the fourth quarter and you say, this guy is going to lead us home. This guy is going to bring us back in this game. This guy can help us win, not just this week, but every week, and win the division and lead us on a playoff run. That is what, to me, the it factor in the intangibles are. And that's why for someone like me, I look at Kyler Murray and I see a young man who needs maturity. Has he matured over the years? Yes. Is he better than he was previously? Yes. Does he still have a ways to go? Absolutely. Because guess what? We all have maturing to do. We all have growing to do. We all have development to do. And it's easy for someone like me to understand the difference between why I look at Russell Wilson and the moment I saw him in college, the moment I first saw him at NC State and then later Wisconsin, I was like, this guy is an NFL quarterback. This guy has it. And why I never said that about Kyler Murray. Because for as talented as Kyler Murray is, for as a phenomenal athlete as he is, I think he is the only guy to ever be drafted in the first round of the NFL and MLB drafts. For all of his accolades, he doesn't have a certain level of intangible that differentiates him from Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson walks into Denver, and we're talking about, can Denver win the AFC West? Kyler Murray walks into the Broncos locker room, You know who you're talking about? Playoffs. Russell Wilson walks onto a team. You're wondering, is this team a Super Bowl contender? You look at Kyler Murray, you're not thinking that. And it doesn't mean Kyler Murray stinks. It doesn't mean Kyler Murray is lazy. But what we're doing is we're differentiating between the average, the good, the very good, the great, the elite. And that's where I choose to draw the line in these conversations. I'm Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on the Sports Bash, filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. We'll check in with more of your guys' thoughts and comments. Thank you to Andrew from Cape May joining the conversation at 609-403-0973. We also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. But coming up on the other side, Phillies are days away from the trade deadline, and one of the potential targets for them was traded last night. Andrew Benintendi was traded to the Yankees for 3 pitching prospects. What does that mean for the Phillies as they're counting down the days to the deadline? Well, that's Scott Lauber from the Philadelphia Inquirer, who covers the Phillies, next here on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
You haven't downloaded the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app? Well, go get it now to follow all the Philly sports teams at 97.3ESPN.com, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City, SpringfieldMitsu.com.
DQ presents Picture This. Picture yourself at DQ on Thursday, July 28th for Miracle Treat Day. You roll up to order a Blizzard with your friends and family like you have so many times before. But on this day, every flavor comes with a much-needed dose of hope. For every Blizzard you buy at participating locations, $1 or more will be donated to Children's Miracle Network hospitals for your local children's hospital, making Miracle Treat Day the most satisfying way to give hope to kids in your community. Thursday, July 28th at DQ.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the Summer Fun Sale, July 29th through August 8th, and get 35% off paints and stains with prices starting at $27.29. That means 35% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, 35% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your local Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Man, I slept.
New ZzzQuil Pure Z's Restorative Herbal Sleep is made for people who are tired of being tired.
I've never slept like this before. I've never woken up like this before.
A melatonin-free sleep aid made with a botanical blend that contains clinically studied and effective valerian root, hops, and passion flower, shown to help promote better restorative sleep. ZzzQuil Pure Z's Restorative Herbal Sleep. Sleep this good. Feel this good. Available at retailers near you.
Did you book the Townsend's 10th anniversary ticket?
Alona's travel agency is overbooked and experiencing delays. She needs to land a new project manager to clear her business's runways.
Yes, Mrs. O'Hara, we checked. Pygmy goats do not count as emotional support animals.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze Fruit on the Go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Call Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out their best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
Matt Black Kia wants to give you independence. Yes, independence. Like freedom from down payments, freedom from payments for 3 months, and freedom from your old car. Plus, if you have a job and clear $350 per week, Matt Black Kia wants to approve you today on any brand new Kia or pre-owned vehicle in stock, or one of hundreds of new 2023 Kia models en route, all with 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days. So bring any trade in any condition, even if you're stuck in a loan or lease. Matt Black Kia wants to get you released. Get cash for your car today, even if you don't buy a car from us. But why wouldn't you buy a new Kia? Because you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
On approved credit plus applicable taxes and fees. See dealer for details. Not all will qualify. Deferred payment through TFCU. Interest accrues from date of sale. Offers don't combine. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details. Expires 8/7/22. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Thursday on 97.3 ESPN FM. The Sports Bash being brought to you by American Airlines at Atlantic City International Airport. ACY now is your one-stop ticket to over 90 domestic and international destinations. Book your next trip today at AA.com. We are days away from the MLB trade deadline, and the Phillies are hitting the road for a 4-game set with the Pirates. We already had one very interesting trade late last night. What could that mean for the Phillies? Well, we're going to ask Scott Lauber, covers the Phillies for the Philadelphia Inquirer, at Scott Lauber on Twitter, and he joins us right now here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Scott, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, last night when I saw the Andrew Benintendi news, the first thing that came to my mind is, well, one, that's convenient for the Yankees because the Royals are coming to town anyway this weekend. But two, I thought of the fact that, look, there was about a month ago, people said maybe the Phillies would be interested in this guy. And you saw the Yankees dig into their deep farm system to acquire Benintendi. And I can't not forget about the fact that guys like you, Scott, have written about the fact that the Phillies don't have the level of resources that a team like the Yankees can pull from to make trades.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they could have probably anteed up enough to get Andrew Benintendi. I think where it's dicey for the Phillies is when it comes to, the premium level players on the market, whether it's Luis Castillo in the pitching market or, that's really the name I'm focused on because it's kind of what the Phillies have sort of internally determined is their biggest need is starting pitching. So, to get a guy like Luis Castillo, you're going to have to give up 2, maybe 3 of your top 10 prospects. And the Phillies, it's not that they don't have it. It's just that they don't want to do it. They don't feel like at this stage that they can give up, 2 of either Abel, Painter, O'Hoppe, Griff McGarry. They've worked really hard the last few years to build up their farm system a little bit. They're not where they want to be, but they're better than, they were a year or certainly 2 years ago. They're deeper. And it's just, they're not really sure at this stage of where they are. Really, let's face it, they're fighting for a wild card spot and probably one of the last 2 wild card spots at that. That's a steep price to pay in the trade market to get a guy. Now, Benintendi was a little different. He's on an expiring contract. And I think what you saw with the Yankees was they gave up mostly mid-level, prospects. They gave up, 3 of them, I believe. To get them. So they gave up some volume, but, they didn't give up the guys at the very tip top of their farm system. And I was a little surprised, number one, that it happened as quickly as it did. My sense is that a lot of these deals that are going to get made are going to really go down to the wire because there are a lot of teams out there that haven't made up their minds yet if they're going to buy or sell. And once they make that determination, which might not be until after the weekend, that's when we'll start to see some movement. So that was one. And 2, I thought Benintendi was going to go, but I thought he was going to go to a National League team that didn't have to worry about facing the Blue Jays down the stretch. Benintendi, we found out recently is not vaccinated, could not make a trip to Toronto with Kansas City. The Yankees do play the Blue Jays down the stretch. And I guess the Yankees have either determined that it doesn't much matter. Maybe he's decided he'll get it so that he can make that trip. Or maybe, the Yankees just said, look, we're not going to get Juan Soto. Let's get a guy who we think can help us. And they think Benintendi's that guy. I covered him with the Red Sox. I think he's a good hitter. He might be able to help that team. But, I was a little bit surprised that it all lined up as it did for the Yankees and as early as it did.
So, Scott, if I could backtrack to something you just said a couple minutes ago, I thought it was interesting. You mentioned how you said the Phillies, they are not trying to look to trade Painter, Happy, those kind of guys, Abel. So if they're not going to trade those type of players, then who can they trade? Like, who is a guy that the fans can say that's an actual player they might trade?
Well, I mean, look, I don't know that they've put the untouchable label on specific. I mean, I think Mick Abel and Andrew Painter are about as close to untouchable as the Phillies have in their farm system. So I don't expect to see either of those guys move. I think Griff McGarry is somebody that they expect can come quickly to the big leagues. I mean, he's already in AA. I don't think we'll see him this year, but we might see him next year. And Dave Dombrowski alluded to this the other day where he said, go back in my history and I'm not afraid to jump a player from AA to the big leagues if the player's ready. And you could go back through whether it's Rick Porcello with the Tigers or, there have been other examples in his career where he has jumped a young, whether it's pitcher or player from AA. So he's not afraid to do that. And I think that they're at a point where, they think that those guys can help them maybe even sooner than expected. Hoppy's an interesting one because he's blocked in the big leagues with the Phillies by JT Realmuto, who's not going anywhere and he's not changing positions anytime soon. So I do wonder about a player like that. While they don't want to trade a young, good catching prospect, you never want to do that. If you don't have a place for him in the big leagues in the short term, you wonder whether he's somebody that they could use as a chip to go get something that they need. Now, by himself, he's not going to get you Luis Castillo, but maybe he'll get you another pitcher on the list of available pitchers and help you out that way. So I'd be surprised to see Abel, Painter, McGarry at this point move, but they're going to have to give up something to get something. And I don't think you'll see them trade like Logan O'Hoppe for a player, a 2-month rental player. But if they could find somebody who could help them beyond this year, maybe he's in play. We'll see.
Now, last trade deadline, we saw them go out there and make the deal that brought in Kyle Gibson, Ian Kennedy, and Krause, the minor league pitcher.
Right.
Now, we know that, Krause has been injured part of the year and Kennedy was a rental, but Gibson was a guy who was under control for multiple years and they had him last year. And now they have him again this year. Is that maybe what we're talking about here, where a guy, maybe not a Luis Castillo, but maybe someone like Kyle Gibson, who is not just a 2-month rental, a guy who's also under contract potentially next year? Is that maybe the larger picture target, you think?
I think it's a possibility that you could see that. I just, I mean, the more I talk to people and the more I hear from, scouts out in the field and other teams, personnel, it doesn't look like an especially strong pitching market. Now, again, it could change. I wrote today about the Red Sox who could, like last year, a couple of days out, 3, 4, 5 days out from the deadline, the Cubs had not committed yet to selling and the Nationals had not committed yet to selling. And then they decided to be sellers. And we had a bonanza at the deadline where Scherzer moved and Trey Turner and Chris Bryant and, anything else that was not nailed down in Washington and Chicago wound up going. And it was Javi Baez and it was Anthony Rizzo, of course. And it was sort of a free-for-all at the deadline. So if a team like the Red Sox, who are not going well, they're in last place in the American League East, decide to sell, you could all of a sudden see people like Nathan Eovaldi, who would be a pitcher who would be of interest to a lot of contending teams, and maybe Kike Hernandez. And, you know, they say they're not going to trade Xander Bogaerts or Rafael Devers. Those would be two humongous names that could move. But, you know, the Red Sox have pieces that could help teams if they decided to go that route. There are other teams in that same boat. The Giants, you know, are a team that looks like they're going to buy or at least try to add a little bit. But if they have a bad weekend, it could go the other way. And all of a sudden, Jock Peterson could be available and Carlos Rodon. So, you know, I think Dave Dombrowski said the other day, I think Monday was when we spoke to him, and he said, like, you know, 8 days is sort of an eternity in the life of a trade deadline. I would tell you that 4 or 5 days is still an eternity in the life of a trade deadline. So I'm not really sure, but like, as we sit today, you know, beyond Luis Castillo, there's, you know, in the pitching market, there's, you know, maybe Frankie Montas in Oakland, maybe Noah Syndergaard with the Angels, Chad Kuhl, who's local from Delaware with the Rockies. These are the kinds of pitchers who might be on the move, and the Phillies could be interested in somebody like that to kind of come in and help them. Many of those guys are on expiring deals, so they would be sort of rentals. And, you know, when you get into the sort of model that they had last year with the Kyle Gibson model, I don't know that there are too many guys like that out there. Merrill Kelly in Arizona, but I'm not sure he's going to go. You know, it's difficult to find the controllable pitcher other than like the top of the market, like a Luis Castillo, who's going to move, or Montas. And those are guys, obviously, because of an extra year or two of control, that are going to cost you more than kind of a mid-level prospect. You're going to pay a different price for, you know, Frankie Montas than you're going to pay for Noah Syndergaard. So those are all things the Phillies have to weigh as they determine how they want to add to their roster before Tuesday.
Scott Lauber covers the Phillies for the Philadelphia Inquirer. You can follow him on Twitter at Scott Lauber. Joining us here on the Sports Bash, Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Thursday on 97.3 ESPN FM. Scott, you mentioned the Red Sox, and I want to ask you a little more about Dombrowski, because I know when you were covering the Red Sox during your time, you were there for part of the Dombrowski years, and now you're seeing him here with the Phillies. Our listeners, it's a strong divide, Scott, between the people who say, you got to trust Dombrowski, I believe what he could do, and the other side of the fan base that's saying, you know, calling him Dombrowski. They're saying things like, you know, how could you give Castellanos all this money? You know, so talk to the audience for a moment about what is your perspective on who and what Dave Dombrowski is, the job he's done, and what is a fair expectation of him moving forward.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting question. I have always known him to be a star hunter. You know, he likes star players. He likes big names. And he's usually in a position to acquire big names rather than move them. I can think of one trade deadline maybe in the last, 10, 15 years where he's truly been a seller. And that was his last year in Detroit when he traded David Price at the deadline, and I think Yoenis Cespedes at the deadline. And this was after acquiring Price the year before. He's usually the guy who's chasing big names, chasing stars, and wanting to add them wherever he can. Now, in talking to him Monday, and Monday is really the last opportunity I've had to speak with him, he sounded a lot more restrained. And it is a very, very interesting situation that the Phillies are in. Like, and I'm going to write about this over the next few days. Like, on the one hand, they have a winning record and or have won the season series against just about every contender in the National League. Like, they've won the season series against the Dodgers and the Padres and the Brewers and the Cardinals. You know, they play the Braves tough. The only team that's a contender in the National League that they have really struggled with is the Mets. And a lot of that was early, and a lot of that was, a lot of that was when they were struggling under Joe Girardi. So they played the Mets a lot early in the year. So that's one thing. I mean, they've proven that they can play with the class of the National League. they also have this 10-year playoff drought, which is the longest in the National League, and it's hanging over them. And every single thing they do, every step they make, is made under that cloud, with that as the backdrop. Now, at the same time, they are in a spot where they're realistically competing for the last playoff spot in the National League, either the last spot or the fifth spot. So that gets them a series, a best of 3 series, but all 3 games would be on the road. So I could see them being a whole lot more aggressive if, let's say, they were where the Braves are, and that is, kind of nipping at the Mets' heels. And if they don't catch the Mets, they're going to be the 4th seed, and they're going to get home games in that first round. And well, in that case, you can be a lot more aggressive, and you can say, hey, let's go for it. Let's take 2 of our top 5 prospects and turn them into Luis Castillo. Our time is now. And, the Phillies sound, at least Dombrowski sounds like he's going to take a bit more of a conservative approach, because although they have a winning record against all these good teams, and although they have Wheeler and Nola at the top of their rotation, which makes them dangerous in a short series, your odds aren't great when you've got to play a 3-game series with all 3 games on the road. Your odds aren't tremendous of moving on necessarily. So you want to be maybe a little bit more protective of your prospects. If it were me, I would say, I'd err more on the aggressive side, honestly, because you have this playoff drought, because you have those top 2 pitchers, because if you get into the postseason, anything can happen, and because prospects are not guarantees. And while I appreciate the people who want to, hoard their prospects and who want to look at Baseball America lists and see how many of yours are in the top 100, we all know that prospects are prospects until they turn into real, star players in the big leagues, and very few of them turn into upper echelon stars. So Dombrowski over the years has been good at determining which guys to move and which guys to hold. With the Red Sox, he had a choice essentially between Rafael Devers and Yohan Moncada. He traded Moncada in the trade for Chris Sale, and Devers has become the far better player at this point in their careers. So, he's been good at deciding kind of where to be aggressive and where not to be, but he is always on the hunt for stars. And that's why when I hear him say, like, we might not be in the upper, we might not be looking at premium level players at this deadline, I kind of say, all right, let's see what the next few days bring, because I don't know him to be the guy who sort of sits on the sidelines when there are premium level players out there to be acquired.
And that, of course, starts this weekend. 4-game set in Pittsburgh with the Pirates is where the Phillies are. And you can catch all of Scott Lauber's coverage at Inquirer.com covering the Phillies, or like what happens to me on the weekends when one of my coworkers, Billy Schwein, brings in the Inquirer newspaper and lays out all the pages around the studio like It's a doctor's office from 20 years ago. So
love it. Love to get your hands dirty, right? You get your fingers dirty with all that print. Love that.
You tell people back in the day, you actually used to read a newspaper, you used to have something in your hand. Now everybody's got it on their phones or on their iPads,
Right. No, exactly. I have a 6-year-old son, and we get the paper delivered every day because I want him to know what a newspaper is. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So we'll see.
Well, hopefully you'll need to install a rotary phone for him to go too far back. But
let's not get crazy. But no.
Gotcha. Scott, I always appreciate you jumping on. Great insights. Check out all of Scott's coverage over at Inquirer.com, or pick up the hard paper, as we mentioned, the Philadelphia Inquirer. Scott, enjoy the Phillies weekend, and I'm sure you'll have plenty to write about over the next several days.
Thanks, Josh. It's definitely an interesting time of year.
Absolutely. Trade deadline just days away. Phillies on a road trip, and Scott Lauber has you guys covered at Scott Lauber on Twitter, covering the Phillies for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Back to the text messages on the other side. Text board is open. 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. I'm Josh Hennig, filling for Mike Gill on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM. And don't forget that 97.3 ESPN mobile app is free, thanks to First Bank of Seattle.
Your official station for Summer at the Shore.
Throws the runner. The pitch is a little high. Throw to second. Out at second. Oh, JT Realmuto with an absolute lacer down to second to get Arenado.
97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
With JMF financing approved credit, excludes Corvette and prior sales.
Your car will never be worth more than right now at Bennett Chevrolet, because Bennett's paying a minimum $7,000 for any trade, running or not. That's a minimum $7,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And we have our best selection of super clean pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in years. And remember, we're paying a minimum $7,000 for even the worst car on or even off the road. Just think how much more you'll get for a good quality trade. And unlike other dealers, Bennett's not selling new Chevys over factory sticker. Remarkable. Plus, at Bennett Chevy, there's 0% available financing. And we can get you out of your lease early. Any lease, any make, any model. And we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one of ours. For a quick quote, just stop by. There's never any pressure or obligation because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid based on your satisfaction. Find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Blue Star medicated ointment works fast to relieve the pain and itch of almost any skin irritation.
It's amazing. It's like as soon as you put it on, you can feel it working. We've had Blue Star in the family for years. It works on everything.
I love the cooling sensation on my athlete's foot.
What a relief for my eczema.
Nothing worked on my dry, cracked skin until I tried Blue Star.
Blue Star is great for scalp itch.
Look for the white box with the Blue Star in the first aid section. Feel Blue Star work fast or your money back.
Hey, Jim! Thanks for coming.
Are you kidding? I never miss one of your dinner parties. How's the new job?
Somehow we're doing great, and I stopped working weekends, thanks to how smooth everything runs on NetSuite by Oracle.
Fantastic. We're still using QuickBooks.
Why haven't you upgraded to NetSuite?
We're making QuickBooks work, sort of.
Shh, watch your language. The kids are right there. Sorry, Amy. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more. NetSuite is everything you need to grow, all in one place. And 93% of surveyed businesses increase their visibility and control since upgrading from QuickBooks to NetSuite.
Yeah, sounds like it's time for me to switch to NetSuite. Over 31,000 businesses already use NetSuite. And for a limited time, NetSuite has extended their one-of-a-kind financing program offer to those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/radar. Head to netsuite.com/radar for this extended special financing offer on the #1 financial system for growing businesses. netsuite.com/radar.
Wendy's new Strawberry Frosty is here, so check your watch. Is it Frosty time yet? It probably is. The hour hand would be on, I'm feeling snacky. And the minute hand would be on, relaxing with a rich, creamy Strawberry Frosty on a summer day, just digging into that smooth, chilly deliciousness and vibing. You know, depending on what kind of watch you have. When it's time for Frosty time, choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Frosty and Classic Chocolate or New Strawberry.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Now, local businesses can get closer to every customer in their city with fast, affordable shipping. Introducing USPS Connect Local. You want speed? We deliver same or next day. You want savings? We give you supplies at a flat rate. You want less legwork? We do free pickups. Move your local business forward with the United States Postal Service. Let's connect at USPSconnect.com/local. Specific markets, restrictions apply. Same day or next day delivery expected, but not guaranteed with entry close to final destination.
Meet Boost, the fizzing amazing vitamin boosts that make you feel like
I like to boost it. My vitamins can boost it. I like to boost it. We like to boost it.
Boost effervescent vitamins turn your H2O into H2O to give you a fizz-tastic feeling like
I like to boost it. My vitamins can boost it. I like to boost it. We like to boost it.
Because it's not just vitamins. It's Boost, the fizzing amazing vitamin boost.
Boost it.
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Did you take those big down payments?
You're darn right I did.
Your Honor, he is breaking the laws of Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. They made it clear. It's a crime to pay more than a dime. Every new Mitsubishi, one dime down.
Take them away. And at Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City, ask for credit amnesty.
If you bring home $350 a week, you could get up to $25,000 in credit. So, what's the beat on inventory?
Other dealers are struggling, but not Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. 40 new Outlanders in stock now. An entire fleet of new and pre-owned. New Mitsubishis from just $17,000.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
at the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi Atlantic City.
In Pleasantville, they service all makes and models.
Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com. Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com.
New 22 Mirage, 16 Ford, 9 down, $249 a month for 72 months at 3% APR, plus tax tag title to qualified buyers.
Now, back to more Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
250 here in the Matt Black Studios. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. We on 97.3 ESPN FM. And don't forget the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Get some of your comments right now before we get to Andy McNamara from Sportsnet. Well, we talk NFL with Andy McNamara each week throughout the season on game night here on 97.3 ESPN with yours truly. But Andy's been kind enough to join me the last 2 weeks here on the Sports Bash to check in about different things. So Andy will be back today at 3 p.m. to talk more about the Eagles, the NFC East, the NFL quarterbacks, and more. Don't forget Football to Forward with Andrew DiCecco coming up at 4 p.m. And we also have Katie Mox, host of Moxie's Bets, coming up at 5:25 tonight. And, of course, you guys, your comments throughout the show, 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Text came in. Person didn't leave their names, so I'm just going to call you anonymous, but it was a very interesting point they brought up, so I didn't want to go too far along on the show and ignore it. But the texter says, the ultimate goal is to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, Jalen Hurts wants to win, and he tries his best. This is similar to Nick Foles with Chip Kelly, Andy Reid with Michael Vick. All players had good seasons, but never amounted to a Super Bowl appearance. You need someone who can go the whole season and win in the big moments. You also need someone who doesn't make critical errors at the wrong times. But for Jalen Hurts and this team to succeed, he needs to learn quickly to mitigate his mistakes, throw with anticipation to opposing defenses, and this has to happen while there is the talent around him to help him execute and win. So, first of all, it's a very, very excellent putting in the context the environment for Hurts. Because the texter brings up, look, Hurts has a skill set. He has a talent and ability. But the problem is that Jalen Hurts, he's right. Hurts is not better or worse per se than Nick Foles, Michael Vick, all these different guys. The problem is that the NFL has become a very strange league in that in the last 30 years, you don't always win with the best quarterbacks. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl, right? Phillip Rivers. Most people believe Phillip Rivers is a better quarterback than Eli Manning. But yet Phillip Rivers has 0 Super Bowl appearances while Eli Manning is 2-0, 2 wins, no losses in the big game. So I think most people would agree that Tony Romo is probably a better quarterback than Donovan McNabb. But Tony Romo couldn't get to even the NFC Championship game. Donovan McNabb got there 5 times and had 1 Super Bowl appearance. So it's a very strange set of circumstances that go into why one player wins a Super Bowl, why one player reaches a Super Bowl, and another cannot. So you're right, Texter. Nick Foles had that amazing season with Chip Kelly. Couldn't get out of the wild card round. Andy Reid and Michael Vick had a couple of nice seasons together, never got to the Super Bowl. So it's a very strange situation when we evaluate the Eagles with Jalen Hurts, because he's going to give you the intangibles. He's going to give you the leadership. He has a skill set that allows him to play the quarterback position at the NFL level. The problem is, as you said, will he develop quickly enough to help this team win while the prerequisite talent is still here? Because you have a situation like Joe Flacco with the Ravens. Joe Flacco is a guy who had an amazing talent as a thrower and as a quarterback, but he was never one of the best top 10, even maybe not even top 15 quarterbacks in the league during his best years. But he had a run where he got hot, and so did the players around him play at such a high level that they were able to go and win a Super Bowl. And even then, they got there, and it still took a goal line stand by the Ravens to stop Colin Kaepernick in the red zone with the 49ers those years ago. So there's so many things that go into a championship team. And of course, I get the people who, don't fully understand what I'm saying. Texter says, Romo better than McNabb? Wow! Exclamation point. Romo was a better thrower of the football than Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb was a better athlete. Donovan McNabb was a better, they both were injured a lot, so I can't say McNabb was injured less. I just think Romo had a better throwing arm and had a better grasp of the position than McNabb did. That's all.
Hi, this is Billy Schwein from The Locker Room. Join me and my co-host, former chief of the Longport Beach Patrol, Dan Adams, and captain of the Wildwood Beach Patrol, Ed Snyder, Friday night from 6 to 8 p.m. as we broadcast the 51st annual Dutch Hoffman Memorial Lifeguard Races live from the beach in Wildwood.
97.3 ESPN's live coverage of the Dutch Hoffman Memorial Lifeguard Races is brought to you by New Jersey's Coastal Insurance Specialists, the Coastline Insurance Agency in Wildwood. By Dino Subs, a Margate landmark since 1964, located at 8016 Ventnor Avenue in Margate. By McCann Realtors, dedicated, experienced, and knowledgeable. A family tradition since 1939 in Sea Isle City. And by Blitz's Market of Ocean City, located at 21st and Asbury. They now have online ordering at blitzesmarkets.com.
Friday night from 6 to 8 p.m. The 51st annual Dutch Hoffman Memorial Lifeguard Races live from the beach in Wildwood.
School's out, but we are rewriting the math. 0 plus 0 equals one heck of a great deal at Matt Blatt Nissan. That's right, 0 down, 0 payments for 3 full months, and 0 mistaking. That only Matt Blatt Nissan has brand new 2022 Nissan Armadas, discounted $5,000 off, plus buy with peace of mind. With our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Don't see your Matt Blatt Nissan on the lot? Don't worry, you could be driving it home tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Plus, if you're stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. With 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 1.9% financing. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through NEMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $479 doc fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 8/7/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township.
Where did I put that?
Pete's property manager just took an extended vacation.
See the dream.
He needs a replacement before this becomes a cruel summer.
Oh, you wanted the lakefront for the 17th. How did this get double booked already?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light. and give you possible solutions verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
You have the choice, whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant or buying that new outfit from a local boutique. Those choices help to put money back into your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts a spotlight on local businesses. Ambient Comfort Heating and Cooling Professionals, AmbientComfortNJ.com. Kindle Auto, just off exit 10 of the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard. Call 609-465-5000 or KindleAutoplaza.net. Jenkins Plumbing and Heating. Call Jenkins for heating and air conditioning installation, service and maintenance, plumbing, or drain cleaning service. 609-641-6440 or JenkinsPlumbingandHeating.com. First Bank of Sea Isle City, Cape May County's community bank. Dennisville Fence, serving you since 1952. Be the envy of your neighborhood. Cowtown Cowboy Outfitters, open 7 days a week and at cowtowncowboy.com. Thank you for supporting your local businesses from Town Square Media, South Jersey.
This is why we're number one for sports in South Jersey.
The Eagles are going to make the playoffs. They play the second easiest schedule. And oh, by the way, Jalen Hurts is good.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
3 o'clock hour of the Sports Bash. Man, did I light a fuse by that comment? I mean, that was just a passing comment I made. I didn't think it was controversial. We'll let Andy McNamara decide, because the great thing about Andy is Andy does not live in South Jersey. He covers the whole NFL. And even though he likes to proclaim that he's a Browns fan, the reality is that Andy's probably the most objective Browns fan on planet Earth. So don't let Twitter fool you. Andy is objective. When push comes to shove, when you shine the light on his face, he gets objective and he puts away that stupid fandom stuff that people put on social media. Speaking of Andy, he covers fantasy sports in the NFL for Sportsnet, and he joins me right now for our weekly conversation on the NFL here on 97.3 ESPN. Andy, I see you pulled out something from Andy Reid's wardrobe there.
You know, Josh, training camp's going on. It's a beautiful day here, and I thought, I'm going to go a little Hawaiian, channel my inner Andy Reid and feel a little relaxed, have some fun. So, yeah, feeling good, buddy. How are you? I'm
doing well. The good news is you're slimmer than Andy, so there's always that going for you as well.
Yes, that's true. Less, my wallet's slimmer as well, but all good.
So I was talking. Okay, so just to give you background, the week has been consumed with quarterback talk because this time of year when people are reporting a training camp, people got lists and anonymous quotes, and Kyler Murray is getting offended by a clause in his contract and all these different things. So one of the conversations that has brought us to this point was about the quarterbacks who have the it factor, okay, and what the differentiation is between the quarterbacks. Like, for example, Russell Wilson goes to the Broncos. People are wondering, could they go to the Super Bowl? If Kyler Murray goes to the Broncos, you're saying, they'll make the playoffs. Like, that's a differentiation, right?
Yeah.
To me, I think Jalen Hurts has an it factor. I think there is a level of intangibles that he has that other quarterbacks just don't have. For example, no offense to Kirk Cousins, no offense to Justin Fields, no offense to Tua Tagovailoa. I don't think they have the moxie of intangibles that Jalen Hurts does. So then that brings us to today, where I was trying to bring some more differentiations between the team success versus the individual, right? Like Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl, right? Okay. You're a Browns fan. Bernie Kosar probably goes to a Super Bowl if he doesn't have John Elway on the other side of the field and the Browns defense choking it away, right?
Yeah.
So my point is that, Tony Romo, to me, was a better quarterback than Donovan McNabb. And apparently that's a controversial comment.
Wow. I like the it factor conversation, because in today's world, everything is analytics. Everything's the advanced stats, right? Everything is, well, you can measure everything. I saw a stat yesterday, not just interceptions, in regards to Carson Wentz, interceptable passes. And that's a stat now. So what's that it factor? That's something you can't quite put your finger on, but you know it when you see it. I think you're spot on. And you look at those types of quarterbacks like Kyler Murray, at some point you have to show also that you have that it factor to overcome. Now, I'm with you as far as with Jalen Hurts. We've been Jalen Hurts truthers since day number one. I was before the draft, before he came to Philly. I had this guy ranked right at the top of that draft class for me as far as that it factor, the guy who doesn't necessarily have it all show up on the field, but he doesn't get the credit he has for, I believe, his throwing ability, where he's going to get the foot factor and just that mindset. And then you compare it to someone like Kyler Murray. Well, Kyler Murray has all the flashy tools, all the does he win or does he fade down the stretch? Well, his NFL career as of right now, him and his head coach have been fading. We're going to see what happens with Jalen Hurts and the others, but with him, he's fading. And that Tony Romo comment, that's interesting. With Donovan McNabb, a better pure one, I guess. But then, you look at it and think, all right, what did McNabb, how far was he able to lead his team compared to a Tony Romo?
Yeah, but here's the problem with that. That's where I'll jump in, okay? And this is where I get in trouble with everybody and their cousin who doesn't like when I say this. And you've heard me say this before, so I'm just going to say it again. Winning is a team accomplishment.
Right.
It's not an individual accomplishment, okay? And we live in a world where Mark Rippon, Doug Williams, Joe Flacco, Jeff Hostetler, Nick Foles, none of them are going to the Hall of Fame, and they all got Super Bowl championships. Dan Marino is one of the greatest quarterbacks I ever saw play in my life. The dude was a phenomenon. Warren Moon had a howitzer for a throwing arm. Randall Cunningham was probably one of the most basically destroyed quarterbacks in NFL history because he played for coaches like Buddy Ryan and Rich Kotite.
Oh.
Those guys never won a championship. Give me Marino, Cunningham, and Moon's talent over the other guys who won championships.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely, and especially for football, right? Because like you said, like Marino, it comes down to, it's a shame for when you look at some of these talents that don't win a championship, the pieces never get put around them. Look at Andrew Luck as a more recent example. Andrew Luck, they finally figured out the offensive line when the man is bashed and broken and he's done. And he's like, I'm out. I'm done. Well, you put Andrew Luck's talent with a competent front office that can actually protect him. I guarantee you Andrew Luck had the it factor in winning a Super Bowl.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So I agree. It is, especially in football, more of that.
He also didn't know how to slide, which destroyed half of his career.
Well, that didn't help either. But he just got absolutely maimed. And you look at the Kirk Cousins things. Now, if you look just statistically, take the names away, Kirk Cousins overall, you'd be like, wow, he's good. Yeah.
6 of the last 7 seasons, Kirk Cousins has over 4,000 passing yards. For his the 7-year period, he is averaging 29 touchdowns and 10 interceptions each year. Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. So just statistically, Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback. Well, not really, because whenever a game counts, Kirk Cousins doesn't win that game for you. He's good enough to get, if you want to maybe squeak into the playoffs here and there and be fine, Kirk Cousins it's okay. He's a guy, but statistically, he does not have that it factor. I also believe Kyler Murray does not have that it factor. And if Kyler Murray is complaining that it's disrespectful that people are complaining he has like a video game clause, well, why do you think that's in there, Kyler? Probably because you pick up the controller too much and you fade in November. Maybe if you weren't playing Fortnite in November, you'd be winning some more football games, you little jerk. That's what drives me absolutely nuts with these guys. Why do you think they're in there? Huh? Because the Arizona Cardinals just think, hey, maybe he plays. No, because they know you play too many video games, Kyler. So put the book that you think Tom Brady's playing anything? You think any of the Joe Burrow is doing that? These guys are studying. These guys, you think Jalen Hurts? I bet you Jalen Hurts is studying. I bet you. Kyler Murray doesn't. And I would be very wary if I was a fan of the Cardinals, which I don't think there are very many of them, even in Arizona, is why am I paying my quarterback $230 million when I have to have a little thing in the contract saying don't play too many video games? Not interested. They got me all hot. Luckily, I'm wearing my Hawaiian shirt.
Well, I said it earlier in the show because I played the audio of Kyler Murray because he spoke like basically an hour before I came on the radio. So I was like, well, this is hot audio. We'll run with this, and I'm sitting here, I'm listening to him. On one hand, I give him a ton of credit. No teleprompter. He didn't have to talk to the media today. He spoke from the heart. He got it off his chest. I applaud him for that. And I give him the credit because half the league doesn't have that level of spine to do that. On the flip side, he totally showed you why that clause is in his contract, because there's a level of maturity that he is still lacking. There is a level of, I work hard. You ever see the movie What About Bob? I'm doing the steps. I'm doing the work. It's your baby steps at 4 o'clock. Kyler thinks he's doing the work, but yet we've never heard stories of like Carson Wentz's fiance is telling him, put the tablet away, come to dinner. Tom Brady's wife, Giselle, is saying, come spend time with your children. Stop watching film. Peyton Manning is infamous or famous, depending on who you ask, for like falling asleep in the film room by himself and the coach having to come in and wake him up, be like, Peyton, go home, you idiot. There's never those stories about Kyler. And that's the reason why there's this clause in there. So Kyler can think he works hard all he wants, but there's a reason why Jerry Rice was running up and down hills in the offseason, and his teammates were like, how do I do that?
Yeah, and that's why Jerry Rice is the greatest of all time. And it comes also from something within, and not everybody has it. Some people just don't. You have all the talent in the world, doesn't have it. So if I'm Kyler Murray, I'm thinking, all right, you can make your little press conference. You look like a whining little baby, but you did it. That's fine. But now go prove it. If you come out this year and you work and you prove and you take the Cardinals to the playoffs, you win a playoff game and you look awesome. Well, guess what? People can play this audio back and like, look at those idiots. All right, look at these two jerks talking about Kyler Murray. Prove it's wrong, Kyler. But you know what? I don't think he's going to, and I don't think he has it in him too, because he's still half of a baseball player, and the injuries are catching up. Too tiny, too small, lots of talent, all the talent in the world. It's not going to happen for him with the Arizona Cardinals, I don't think. And fantasy football-wise, Josh, I always say this. With Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, draft him now, trade him before Thanksgiving. You'll get a heat back, and then they will tank. So,
well, here's the problem with Kyler. He doesn't have DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 weeks. So, I mean, do you even not take him in fantasy? As a fantasy guy yourself, Andy, you're the fantasy guru in this conversation. I'm just a football guy, as they would say. To me, I look at Kyler Murray, I'm like, you don't have Hopkins for 6 weeks. Why do I want you? Yeah,
and you know what he did? Now, he has the like factor. Now, I will give him credit. He has evolved a bit to not necessarily just taking off and sprinting, and he's starting to be a little smarter with sacrificing the body, but he's so small that you have these guys like Josh we see at the combine. Who was it? Montez Sweat, who's built like a house and can run like a 4.6. It's these guys will catch you. They will catch you and they will squish you. And when you're the size of Kyler Murray, that's going to happen. So when you look at injuries piling up, the fact that you won't have Hopkins for that. Now, is he going to be a top 12 quarterback? I still think so. I still think just with that offense, naturally with Kingsbury, they're going to throw a lot. So I think he is, but maybe, I'm just looking here, he is being taken off the board typically as the 5th quarterback ahead of Joe Burrow? Okay, I'm not interested in that. Wow. What's this ranking I'm looking at?
Whatever ranking you're looking at, it's wrong.
It's not my ranking, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. That's ahead of wow. Yeah. No. I'm backpedal. I would put Kyler Murray more in the, I'm thinking probably 8 to 12 range, and personally I would do as much as I can not to draft him for the points that we talked about.
Andy McNamara joining us from Sportsnet here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Thursday on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. All right, so back to the Hurts thing. So I purposely played that legal ID you heard. Mike Greenberg from the Greenie Show, which apparently he only hosts 2 or 3 days a week now because he's too busy doing TV. He said on his show that he likes Jalen Hurts. He's a believer in what Hurts brings to the table. Now, so are you and I. Yep. The reason why I played it again is because there is a contingent of people who want to jump up and down and say that he sucks and he can't read a defense. And, I thought somebody else who was not me brought up a great point on another show that they said look, if you spend your whole life looking for Tom Brady, you're never going to find him. So how can you win with the guy that you have? Now, you mentioned it earlier. Kirk Cousins is only going to give you so much. But for fantasy purposes, he's going to win you a fantasy league, but he's never going to win you a Super Bowl. It's because he doesn't have the it factor. When I talk about the it factor, right? When I talk about intangibles, I started writing it down randomly today. Like, I was just like, all right, random names. Brady, Rodgers, Wilson, Joe Burrow. Okay? These guys have the it factor. Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. Yeah. They have the it factor, right?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts has the it factor. I'm not saying he's those other guys, but I'm saying that when it's the fourth quarter and you're down by 7 and you got a 2-minute drill, give me Jalen Hurts over Kyler Murray.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins and those other guys with the stats.
Kirk Cousins.
Right? And those guys with the stats. Like, is he going to be able to win? And the thing is, too, we have to remember, everybody wants the guys drafted. He made a mistake. He's not Tom. Well, no one's going to be Tom Brady. And he's still a young player. Now, what I love about this year, what the Eagles have done, is given him the best unit around him as far as being able to succeed with playmakers. All of a sudden, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, those are your two guys. Oh, Dallas Goedert and your backfield. You are surrounding him. And we talked about this the other week, Josh. I love the Eagles offense because of the Jalen Hurts factor. And there's a difference between a running quarterback like a Lamar Jackson who will look to run first. I don't care what anyone says. That guy's not a good passer of the football overall. Throw your stats and take him out of here. Not interested. Jalen Hurts, I think, is a better passer than Lamar Jackson. And I think he's smarter than Lamar Jackson when it comes to sacrificing his body. Because he will move. There's a big difference between having to run and being able to run if you're a quarterback and being able to utilize that in an offense. And I think Jalen Hurts this year is going to be able to. What are defenses going to do? He could run it. He could hand it off. He could throw it to those weapons. I absolutely love the Eagles offense this year. And I think we're going to see Jalen Hurts take that next big step. And he's going to have to. Well, nothing's given. This is a big year for Jalen Hurts. He's got the pieces around him. He has to show noticeable improvement this season for the Eagles to buy in and say, hey, you know what? You're our guy going forward.
Now, a guy who I'm friendly with, who I love to listen to, is Mike Clay from ESPN. And he brought up the point that, for fantasy purposes, A.J. Brown might not be the best option, right? Devonta Smith might not be the best option. But he said something that you said last year, Andy. If you can get Jalen Hurts, you draft him.
Yeah.
His targets, maybe you don't draft them because at the end of the day, look, you know how Jalen Hurts can put up big stats this year? A.J. Brown has 800 yards. Devonta Smith has 800 yards. Dallas Goedert has 600 yards. You know what that equals? 2,200 passing yards. So if Jalen Hurts just gets another 1,000 yards from somewhere else, he's got over 3,000 passing yards. It's not a hard equation, but guess what? That means his targets are not valuable in fantasy as much as he is.
Yeah, and that's an excellent way to put it. The quarterback, and there's the other way around as well. There's quarterbacks that can make their weapons fantasy valuable, but aren't weapons that aren't starting fantasy quarterbacks themselves, like a Derek Carr, for example. Right, Derek Carr, Hunter Renfrow. But I'll keep patting myself on the back. I was cool on Hunter Renfrow week 2 in my articles before everybody else jumped on him. But when you look at Jalen Hurts, it's because he can also run the ball in for touchdowns. He can get those yards with his legs. So you're combining all of that. And I agree. I think with the real life Eagles offense and the weapons around are much better than the fantasy options. Now, that being said, I'm still very interested in Dallas Goedert as a TE1, especially with what I really believe we are seeing Travis Kelce starting to be on that. He's been at the tip of the mound, even with Tyreek Hill going. Maybe Patrick Mahomes will try to force feed him. We saw him get a little more banged up. So we're going to have to start looking elsewhere. Where's our more consistent, safe tight ends? Whether a Mark Andrews, very volatile. Travis Kelce on the nose dive. I'm not saying you don't want those guys, but I want maybe steady. Darren Waller, well, is he going to get the same look with the Raiders with Devontae Adams? I don't think so. So now I'm looking at Dallas Goedert, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can get Dallas Goedert in those mid-rounds, maybe a little later, and I'm going to have a nice, consistent TE1 who is going to get his fair share of the ball and who has also played with Jalen Hurts before.
One of the other guys I want to ask you about with the quarterback position is Lamar Jackson. Now, the guy from the Athletic article who said that I don't give a bleep if Lamar wins a ton of MVPs. He's still not a QB1. That guy probably won't have a job in the NFL much longer. That's probably why he's anonymous. But, for practicality purposes, here's my belief. I think Lamar balls out this year because I think he wants to show that he deserves that big contract because he sees that all these other guys are getting contracts, and you know what these guys don't have, Andy? They don't have an MVP award.
That's true. Now, I would say this. I think Lamar Jackson is obviously he's a quarterback that's exciting. He can produce a lot of stats. Does he have that it factor? To me, I don't think so. I don't believe Lamar has.
He doesn't, but you know what? I don't think Michael Vick did either. But yet half the league would love to have those guys instead of their current quarterbacks. Like Michael Vick and Lamar Jackson because Lamar is not even near his prime yet. But to me, I think Lamar in his prime will be better than Vick in his prime.
I think what we have to really see is how does he do in the passing game this year to anybody not named Mark Andrews on a consistent basis?
Does anybody play for the Ravens not named Mark Andrews?
But the thing is, you know what? Hollywood Brown wanted out. As cool as Marquise Brown wanted out of town, and we're going to see how good he is this year. When you look at the weapons around him, Rashad Bateman's your top guy. Devin Duvernay, slot guy at best. James Proche. Those are your three starting depth chart guys. Which tells me that for the Ravens, what that tells me is, well, we're not going to invest in great wide receivers because our quarterback isn't going to be able to get them the ball. So why am I spending that money? I'm going to invest in the running back. And that's why when you look at it, now injuries are starting to come in as well because he runs a lot. He's starting to get banged up as well. He's taller and thicker than Kyler Murray, but still. And so now what you're looking at is that run focused again. Really going to be with the Ravens. J.K. Dobbins is going to be coming back. He's still, I think he's supposed to be ready for the regular season, according to himself. So now it's like, okay, what does Lamar Jackson do? Is he going to take that step forward as a passer? I haven't seen it, and I don't think so. And so when it comes to fantasy specifically, Josh, the Baltimore Ravens are one of those black holes to me. I don't want anybody on the Ravens outside of Lamar Jackson. And even then, we have seen his fantasy value decrease each year because guess what? Defensive coordinators in the NFL are pretty smart and they're going to figure you out and they're going to make you pass the football. So if your an opponent's strategy is pass, we're going to get the quarterback to pass the football more. That's how we do it. I don't think it's going to necessarily work out to a fantasy level where Lamar Jackson will be drafted. So Lamar Jackson to me, again, top 12, yes. Would I rather him or Kyler Murray? Honestly, for fantasy, at least the first chunk of the season, I'd say probably Kyler Murray.
I just got to say this. The Ravens are so fortunate that they have Rashad Bateman because he literally is the only guy on that team who's a go-get-it receiver. Like, no offense to Mark Andrews, you got to either hit him in stride or you got to lead him a little bit.
Yeah.
He's not a go-get-it like receiver. I watched Bateman at Minnesota for 3 years. The dude's a freak. And he was playing with quarterbacks who are probably worse than Lamar Jackson is throwing the ball left-handed. So, Bateman was a stud. And if he could just stay healthy, the Ravens will literally be saved by probably at least 2 games because of Rashad Bateman this year.
You know who I also think is going to be a sneaky pickup for PPR only is Devin Duvernay. I really like Devin Duvernay coming out of the draft. What was it, a couple years ago now, I guess. And I sort of put him in the same vein as Jalen Reagor of like a slot guy, except you get Duvernay at a much better value.
Don't say that to Eagle fans. Don't say that to Eagle fans.
That was a terrible pick. Eagles fans, and y'all know it. It was a terrible pick. I got Justin Jefferson's rookie card right there in the wrong color. Okay? He should be with the Eagles, not in purple. I got it right there. Still POs me that he was not with the Eagles. That was a stupid pick. But Devin Duvernay for PPR only for fantasy. Think about it. What do you want to do if you're Lamar Jackson? You're doing a lot of read option. Taking the ball, you're looking your hand. You want to get the ball out of his hands quick. You don't want him looking back and getting confused. You want it quick. Well, Devin Duvernay in the slot, boop, little quick outs all the time. I could see Devin Duvernay being a very sneaky high-end WR2 when the season is done based on pure volume. I don't think the touchdowns will necessarily be there, but for a PPR only, Devin Duvernay is somebody to look at later in your drafts to get on your team.
All right, before I let you go, you mentioned his name, so I'll drop him in this conversation here. Justin Jefferson thinks that he's going to be the number 1 receiver in the NFL by the end of the season. as a fantasy guy, can he be that guy? Can he be maybe the number one in football, but can he be the number one in fantasy?
Boy, okay. So if we're looking, these are now Cooper Kupp, even if he comes down from his crazy year, which he will, he could still be the top fantasy receiver because it was unreal. He's not going to match those numbers.
Right.
So then to me, I have Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in that next chunk. I have Stephon Diggs there. Devontae Adams loses a bunch, obviously, because of Derek Carr, but he's still going to be, obviously, a fantastic receiver. CeeDee Lamb, let's not discount CeeDee Lamb either. Sorry, Eagles fans, I know, but he's still a very good player. I think Justin Jefferson absolutely could. And the reason is we talked about it earlier. As much as we dump on Kirk Cousins, look at the statistics. Look at the passing yards. Look at the touchdowns. Okay, Adam Thielen, a year older, not nearly the same player he was a couple seasons ago. You're going to be funneling it to Justin Jefferson, and he is that good that he can handle double coverage and still be a playmaker. So I would put Justin Jefferson right there, Jamar Chase as well right there. Now you still have, who is it, Diggs or whatever in there. The other two.
Oh, Buffalo, Diggs.
Yeah, no, for Cincinnati, not Tyler Boyd. You know who I'm talking about, the other guy. Jamar Chase, there's Boyd. You know who I'm saying.
I mean, that's two.
Yeah, you know who I'm saying anyway.
T. Higgins.
Higgins, yes. Higgins, I love Higgins. So you have competition there. So I like Jamar Chase. You got competition. Justin Jefferson really has the least amount of competition, I think, on that team for a quarterback who's going to be throwing the ball a lot. So I think that is very possible. I would put Jamar Chase and Cooper Kupp sort of right underneath. I don't know. It's just very coming after that historic season. There's, again, sort of that gut feeling. There's nothing you can point to saying that Cooper Kupp won't be an absolute monster again. But there's just something off of all that. Can you really replicate it? I don't think so. So I would say Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are kind of my 1-2 when it comes to fantasy receivers this year.
He's Andy McNamara at AndyMC81. All of his coverage with Sportsnet, NFL, fantasy sports, and more. And he'll be joining us each week leading up to the season, through the postseason, and then we'll give him some time off in February.
Right. And Josh, hey, you know what? We got for our UFFsports.com, we got our new college league launching. You got to check this league out. UFFsports.com/UCFFL. We got 18 franchises owned by Eric Metcalf. We got Walt Harris. There's a whole bunch of NFL guys who own these teams, and we're getting players involved. So check out that league as well. UFFsports.com/UCFFL.
I know this is a dumb question, but it just came to my mind. Is there such a thing as fantasy college sports?
Yeah. College fantasy football. Absolutely.
Because if there is, the sleeper pick of the year is JT Daniels at WVU. Because his offensive coordinator is the guy who recruited him to USC. And now they're reunited at WVU. And then remember also Spencer Rattler, who's at South Carolina. The guy who recruited him to Oklahoma is Shane Beamer. Those are the two guys I would say if I was asked to play fantasy college football, those would be two guys that would be right near the top of my rankings because you know how college football works. Familiarity breeds success more than anything else in college football.
And look at the pressure off Spencer Rattler. This time last year, guaranteed number one pick for, no problem. Pressure's off. Pressure's off this guy. I'm with you. I think Spencer Rattler could be there. Josh, we might have to get you on as a GM in the Ultimate College Fantasy Football League, right? Because they pay money, baby. They pay. So, check that out. That's professional college fantasy football. It's going to be a ton of fun. And, the college season will be going. We got training camp going for everything. So it's going to be loads of fun this year.
Last year, I did hit at 65% on my college football bets last year. So.
Okay. All right. Hey, you know what? I think too. Yeah, well, we're going to have to get you on.
I'm dangerous, man. I'm dangerous.
Not Baker Mayfield dangerous, though.
No.
Did you wake up feeling I still got that shirt. $30. $30. I still got it. Woke up feeling dangerous.
Did you see the video of the lady with the Baker Mayfield Browns jersey getting interviewed?
Oh, I know. It's like, I want Baker to absolutely ball out this year, except for week 1 versus the Browns. Just don't do that.
I told you. I already said place the bet.
Oh. Yeah, I know.
It's Jacoby Brissett on the other side, man. Come on.
We're still waiting for Judge Sue. Camp starting, man. Come on. Let's get this going here. What are we gonna do? It's gonna be September 10 at the day before the season. We're gonna find out Deshaun Watson.
Judge Sue's busy visiting her grandkids for the
He's
summer.
Busy, I know. We'll see. But Deshaun does have that it factor. That's right.
Andy, take care of yourself, my friend.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later. See ya.
Josh Hennig here, filling in for Mike Gill on the Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle. You can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free. Just download from the Apple App Store, Google Play. Listen to 97.3 ESPN. You go to the beach, you go for a bike ride, you're driving a long trip. You can listen to 97.3 ESPN wherever you go with the app. Sports Bash, Mike Gill. Mike Gill's off this week, but he'll be back next week. Game night with yours truly, Josh Hennig at 6 o'clock. Weekends, Billy Schwein, the locker room, 10 a.m. It's all right there. 97.3 ESPN mobile app. You can DM us through the app while you listen to the show. Thanks to First Bank of Seattle. Text board is open as well. 609-403-0973. Man, the people who are not happy with me with my McNabb Romo analogy. But you know what? I love the passion. I love the guy who gets on, guy or girl, whoever you are. I don't know who you are. I can't see you through, the anonymity of a message, but I love the fact that you came at me. I love football season. Love it.
There's never an off season for the NFL. It's football at 4 every day at 4 p.m. on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. SpringfieldMitsu.com.
Like bones, your teeth lose density and become weaker over time, which can lead to tooth decay. And that can make your visit to the dentist feel like this. But if you want your dental visit to feel like this, try new Crest Densify. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth by remineralizing enamel. New Densify from Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America. Smile, Crest has you covered.
I'll ring you up in a second. Kim, can you see if we have more acid wash?
Desmona's thrift store is the spot for killer vintage finds.
Oh, that looks fabulous on you. Hey, can you do the register?
But her sales clerk situation feels pretty threadbare.
Oh, yeah, let me clear out that fitting room.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Hey, I'm Andy, and every morning I wake up thinking about shaving. When I started Harry's almost a decade ago, the shaving industry was a mess. Flashy, overpriced razors as far as the eye could see. I just wanted a great shave at a fair price. Too much to ask? I didn't think so, and that's why I started Harry's. 10 years and 20 million Harry's customers later, we're still obsessed with giving you a quality shave experience. Sharper blades, a better lubricating strip, and making our handle grippy in all the right places. All upgrades based on your feedback. And it all comes at a great price. Seriously, as low as $2 per cartridge. These days, my mornings are a little bit different. Morning, girls. But I still wake up thinking about shaving. Our starter set has everything you need for a close, comfortable shave. 5-blade German-engineered razor, weighted handle, and shave gel. Get yours now for just $3 with free shipping, backed by our quality guarantee. Just go to harrys.com now and enter code TOWNSQUARE at checkout. That's harrys.com, code TOWNSQUARE.
Staples has everything for school at great prices. So this year you won't go back to school. You'll be ready to move forward into art class.
A 4-foot replica of the Statue of Liberty using elbow macaroni?
With glue and art supplies from Staples.
By tomorrow.
Right now, 24-count Crayola crayons and Polly Pocket folders are just 50 cents each, and 1-inch binders are only $1.99. Everything on your list at amazing rising prices. Staples, we're not going back. We're going forward to school. Ends 8/27 in store only, limit 30.
And now a small business setback, delivered by a kind French stranger.
Monsieur, there was an accident. The windshield of your catering van is, how do you say, kaput? But Progressive has an extensive network of repair shops. Now, we sing about the old days. Brave marin revient de guerre.
When things go wrong with your small business, it's comforting to know you have Progressive Commercial. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Croissance for everyone.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
I want to make the most of summer without breaking the bank. So I shopped Kohl's Friends and Family sale. With my 25% off coupon, I headed to the store and got shorts for $14.99, plus an extra 50% off a swimsuit, 40% off patio furniture, and $20 off as a Kohl's Rewards member. More style and more savings for the win. Select styles, $20 off of $100 valid in store only. 25% offer ends July 31st in store only. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
School's out, but we are rewriting the math. 0 plus 0 equals one heck of a great deal at Matt Blatt Nissan. That's right, 0 down, 0 payments for 3 full months, and 0 mistaking. That only Matt Blatt Nissan has brand new 2022 Nissan Armadas, discounted $5,000 off, plus buy with peace of mind. With our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Don't see your Matt Blatt Nissan on the lot? Don't worry, you could be driving it home tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Plus, if you're stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. With 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 1.9% financing. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through NEMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle, plus tax tag and $479 doc fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 8/7/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Three o'clock hour of the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill. This hour being brought to you by Garden State Beer Company. At Garden State Beer Company in Galloway, their motto is a beer for everyone. Contact them today at 609-232-BEER. The Garden State Beer Company in Galloway. I always enjoy talking football with Andy. Frankly, if I could just talk football all day long, I would, but it's getting close to that time of year. Oh, my goodness. By the way, get a couple of things real quick. First of all, don't forget, still to come on the show, football for Andrew DiCecco, Eagles writer for InsideTheBirds.com. Also, in the 5 o'clock hour, we will be joined by betting expert. She is the host of Moxie Bets, which is produced by Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions over on ESPN. The podcast is Moxie Bets, hosted by Katie Mox. She'll join us coming up at 5:25 to talk some picks, some odds for the NFL season. Also, so according to ESPN, today is officially 30 days from the start of the college football season. In the next hour, I'm going to give you my favorite games. I'm trying to cut it down to 10. My top 10 favorite college football games I'm looking forward to this college football season. And all day long, I've been seeing Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman all over every ESPN. He's on Get Up. He's on Just In. He's on SportsCenter. He's on every stinking show they could possibly squeeze him in on. And my biggest two takeaways are, number one, whoever the producer is at ESPN either doesn't like him or is an incompetent buffoon. Because at least two of his appearances, they didn't tell him where the camera was to talk into. That's a bad job by somebody. So either somebody hates Notre Dame or they're just competent at their job. And number two, you know why Marcus Freeman is doing the car wash at ESPN? Because they're not part of a conference. And they're not part of a conference because Notre Dame right now can make more money independently from football than joining the Big Ten or the ACC or the SEC. And until that changes, and it may change, college football will continue to have them as an independent. Because being an independent back in like the 70s and 80s and 90s, it was a completely different animal than being an independent today. Because almost nobody today is an independent. Even BYU, who used to be an independent, is going to join the revamped Big 12 conference because Notre Dame is literally the only brand in all of college football that can make money without a backdrop, without a supporting cast. And that's the strangest thing in football, is it not? I didn't expect to go down this road, but hear me out for a sec. Football is the ultimate team sport. Football is the ultimate sport where you win because of the supporting cast, because of your environment, because of all these variables that you can't factor in per se with, just stats and information. When we have these debates about quarterback, we're doing it almost like with our hand tied behind our back. It's almost like we're doing it with only one hand, because at the end of the day, when you debate quarterback, you're not playing with a full deck. You're not fighting with two hands. What you're doing is you're bringing in a perspective that at least 50% of the time, the person you're talking to may have a completely different starting point with. It is a 50-50 proposition that two people will walk to a microphone or meet each other at the bar over drinks or hang out, wherever. And they both come from the same perspective on a quarterback. Some people like certain quarterbacks better than others. Whether there are people out there who hate Tom Brady. There are people out there who hate Peyton Manning. There are people out there, no matter who the quarterback is for the Dallas Cowboys, he stinks. Right? So, and listen, here in South Jersey, the majority of you listening to my voice out there, I would say probably 70% of you are Eagle fans. And I would say the other 30% of you, probably 25 of that 30%, you're either Giant, Washington, or Dallas fans. And then there's another 5 percentile that's either Jets or Steeler fans. That's the fans I've run into in our listening audience from my experience. Okay, maybe the 5% is maybe more like Steeler, Raven, Jet fans. But the point is that the majority of you are not Cowboy fans. So the majority of you don't like the Cowboys. So it doesn't matter that Roger Staubach and Troy Aikman are in the Hall of Fame. You still don't like them. And so, but the reason why is because the Cowboys have this brand. They have been shoved down your throat for 40 years. America's team, the star. How about them Cowboys? Jerry Jones stretched out face, talking for 20 plus years, right? You're tired of the Cowboys. You have Cowboys fatigue all day, every day, but they're a brand. And the only team in college football that has the power of a brand in today's world that a team like the Cowboys do, a team like the Steelers do. There are Steeler fans all over the country. The Steelers have a diehard fan base everywhere you go, right? The NFL brand is powerful. And there's only a handful of franchises that nobody likes or nobody cares about, right? Like you can find Packer fans anywhere in the country, right? There's only one college football team that has that pedigree, that has that power, that has that marquee. And that's Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish, whether you like them or not, are a brand name of great financial value in college football. Because here's the problem with every other school that's been a popular school in the last 40 years. You have schools like the University of Miami that had to go on probation. So they lost traction. And then they went downhill at some point and lost half their fan base, because half their fan base is there because the U is supposed to be representing winning and culture and all these things. And now they represent the ACC. Clemson's only been a brand in the last, 8 years? Clemson used to be a joke. The joke used to be if you were choking, you were Clemsoning. Now Clemson's got a national championship. They've been to a couple other national championship finals. They're a marquee name, but only in the last several years because of winning. Alabama, before Nick Saban got there, was a regional brand. You go to the South. You go to those states in the SEC country, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee. In those states, Alabama is a much bigger marquee name than the rest of the country until Nick Saban started winning national championships almost every other year, became this dynasty, and he turned Alabama from a regional brand to a national love it or hate it. Only Notre Dame has stood the test of time no matter what. And that's why they're independent. So for all these people who jump on television, who go around, for me in the morning, I try to bounce channels because I want to watch commercials. So, I'll bounce around from ESPN to FS1, MLB Network to NFL Network. Depending on the time of year, if there's no NFL, I'm dropping in NHL Network and the NBA TV in the mix. But when they even talk about college football and they bring up the idea of conference realignment, right? This whole craziness with USC and UCLA leaving the Pac-12 together. They joined the Big Ten. And now the Big 12 is being ripped apart with Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, and rumors about the ACC trying to make their own counter move when it comes to schools. And everyone brings up, where's Notre Dame going? And Notre Dame is like, we ain't going anywhere because we're making plenty of money without you. We don't have to share any of it with you, because that's the real reason why these schools are going to these conferences, because they want a piece of the pie. And they know that if you're Oklahoma and you leave the Big 12 and you go to the SEC, you're getting a bigger piece of pie. And if you're USC and you leave the Pac-12, you're getting a bigger piece of pie in the Big Ten. And the Big Ten has that big piece of pie because of who they already have had for years. And the same thing with the SEC. And Notre Dame is just sitting around being like, yeah, we've been making tens of millions of dollars for years. We don't need you guys. It's craziness. But seriously, whoever the producer is at ESPN, stop having Marcus Freeman look at the wrong camera. You're doing a bad job. You're making him look bad. The poor guy's going cross-eyed on SportsCenter while some producers probably twiddling their thumbs playing Wordle or Angry Birds on their phone, not paying attention. Have a little self-respect for your fellow man, for goodness sake. Josh Hennig, Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN FM, former host of Sports Bash Saturday, now host of Game Night throughout the week, and filling in for Mike Gill today on a Thursday edition of the Sports Bash. We are about 13 minutes away from today's edition of Football at 4 with Andrew DiCecco from the Inside the Birds podcast at InsideTheBirds.com.
The best way to wake up is with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings at 6 on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Alert! We're under construction at Sport Hyundai in Egg Harbor. It's time to make room for our new and improved facility, and you're the big winner. We're clearing out inventory with our incredible construction reduction sale. New Santa Fe's, Tucson's, and more in stock and priced to move today. With Hyundai Assurance and America's best warranty, including the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Use our main entrance on Black Horse Pike. Construction reduction deals are once in a lifetime, and this inventory won't last. See for yourself in person or at sporthyundai.com.
If you want your dental visit to feel like this, try new Crest Densify. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth by remineralizing enamel. Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America.
Where did I put that?
Pete's property manager just took an extended vacation.
Casita Dreams.
He needs a replacement before this becomes a cruel summer.
Oh, you wanted the lakefront for the 17th? How did this get double booked already?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
This summer, escape to the Jersey Cape, a place that's real and really charming. Come relax, really relax on our beaches, or maybe just sit on a porch and daydream. Explore our trails, discover our natural areas, or go camping, walk the boardwalk, visit a museum or a lighthouse, experience our eclectic dining, or try your hand at fishing and crabbing. Sample our homegrown fruits and vegetables, local wines, brews, and spirits, or participate in our outdoor activities, special events, and live entertainment found beyond our world-famous beaches. Visit the Free County Park and Zoo for a trip on the wild side. Enjoy authentic experiences where the arts easily connect to nature. The food comes directly from the sea or soil, and the outdoors go from birding to playing in the surf. Stay at a modern motel or a quaint bed and breakfast inn. Escape the everyday and pursue your passions at the Jersey Cape. It's authentically charming and sincerely yours. Escape to thejerseycape.com. Sponsored by Cape May County Tourism.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise in the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback. And by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Matt Blatt Kia wants to give you independence. Yes, independence. Like freedom from down payments, freedom from payments for 3 months, and freedom from your old car. Plus, if you have a job and clear $350 per week, Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today on any brand new Kia or pre-owned vehicle in stock, or one of hundreds of new 2023 Kia models en route, all with 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days. So bring any trade in any condition, even if you're stuck in a loan or lease. Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released. Get cash for your car today, even if you don't buy a car from us. But why wouldn't you buy a new Kia? Because you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Unapproved credit plus applicable taxes and fees. See dealer for details. Not all will qualify. Deferred payment through TFCU. Interest accrues from date of sale. Offers don't combine. Go to MattBlattKiaNJ.com for complete details. Expires 8/7/22. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 and Toms River.
Now, back to more Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
Josh Hennig, filling in for Mike Gill, third edition of the Sports Bash. I made a mistake. So, apparently there is one. First of all, I have no idea why the music player changed songs mid-play, but that was weird. But on back to the text board at 609-403-0973. Shout out to the diehard Bengals fan who wanted to let me know he was listening. So we have Eagle fans in the majority. We have a bunch of Giant fans out there. Then you get your Washington and your Dallas fans because it's NFC East country. And then you got your Raven fans and your Steeler fans in much smaller amounts. You got your very, miserable Jet fans who I haven't had much success for about 40 plus years. And then you got the one Bengal fan, to which my answer is, well, at least you got the best quarterback in your division. Because, well, Deshaun Watson may be making the most money, and Lamar Jackson has got the MVP. And the Steelers, I don't even know who the starting quarterback is. It's probably going to be Trubisky or Pickett at this point. It's not Mason Rudolph, that's for sure. If I need a 2-minute drill and I need one of those quarterbacks to lead me to a win, I'm going Joe Burrow. There's something special. Joe Burrow's got the it factor. And remember I was talking earlier yesterday and today about it factor? Joe Burrow, there's something about him. There's an intangible ability where you put the ball in his hands and he's got a look on his eye like, boys, we're going down this field and we're going to score. To me, that is one of the biggest parts of the it factor. It's a quarterback that I can look at and believe that he's going to put me in a position to try to win this game. There's so many times that I look at quarterbacks and I'm like, you know what? I don't believe this guy is going to lead me to victory every time, down 7, 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. No offense to Kirk Cousins. No offense to Kyler Murray. No offense to Tua Tagovailoa. No offense to Matt Ryan. Those guys are all good quarterbacks. But when I look at guys like Joe Burrow, I think that those guys are much closer to people like Brady and Rodgers than the rest of the group is. He's not on that level yet, but he's got the it factor that can get him there. Football at 4, next on 97.3 ESPN.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff. Learn more, live better.
We all know it's fun to joke and laugh with our friends and loved ones, but did you realize a good chuckle is actually good for your heart health? An article by the Cleveland Clinic states that laughing can actually increase blood flow by up to 20% and is similar to aerobic exercise in terms of aiding heart health. Laughter also reduces stress hormones such as cortisol and epinephrine, which can cause blood vessels to constrict. This can also lead to a boost in the antibody count in our blood, improving our immune system. Now more than ever, we could all really use a good laugh. So the next time you're feeling a little stressed, check out an online comedy show, a funny movie or TV show, or something that just makes you chuckle on social media. Catch up with an old friend or family member that always makes you laugh. It just might be good for your heart. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, empowering you to live a healthier life.
With GMF financing approved credit, excludes Corvette and prior sales.
Your car will never be worth more than right now at Bennett Chevrolet, because Bennett's paying a minimum $7,000 for any trade, running or not. That's a minimum $7,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And we have our best selection of super clean pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in years. And remember, we're paying a minimum $7,000 for even the worst car on or even off the road. Just think how much more you'll get for a good quality trade. And unlike other dealers, Bennett's not selling new Chevys over factory sticker. Remarkable. Plus, at Bennett Chevy, there's 0% available financing. And we can get you out of your lease early. Any lease, any make, any model. And we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one of ours. For a quick quote, just stop by. There's never any pressure or obligation because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid based on your satisfaction. Find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Meet Boost, the fizzing amazing vitamin boosts that make you feel like
I like to boost it, my vitamins can boost it. I like to boost it, we like to boost it.
Boost effervescent vitamins turn your H2O into H2O to give you a fizztastic feeling like
I like to boost it, my vitamins can boost it. I like to boost it, we like to boost it.
Because it's not just vitamins, it's Boost, the fizzing amazing vitamin boost.
Boost it.
I want to make the most of summer without breaking the bank. So I shopped Kohl's Friends and Family Sale. With my 25% off coupon, I headed to the store and got shorts for $14.99, plus an extra 50% off a swimsuit, 40% off patio furniture, and $20 off as a Kohl's Rewards member. More style and more savings for the win. Select styles, $20 off of $100 valid in-store only. 25% offer ends July 31st in-store only. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Where did I put that?
Pete's property manager just took an extended vacation.
Let's see the dreams.
He needs a replacement before this becomes a cruel summer.
Oh, you wanted the lakefront for the 17th? How did this get double booked already?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Matt Blatt Kia wants to give you independence. Yes, independence. Like freedom from down payments, freedom from payments for 3 months, and freedom from your old car. Plus, if you have a job and clear $350 per week, Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today on any brand new Kia or pre-owned vehicle in stock, or one of hundreds of new 2023 Kia models en route, all with 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days. So bring any trade in any condition, even if you're stuck in a loan or lease. Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released. Get cash for your car today, even if you don't buy a car from us. But why wouldn't you buy a new Kia? Because you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Unapproved credit plus applicable taxes and fees. See dealer for details. Not all will qualify. Deferred payment through TFCU. Interest accrues from date of sale. Offers don't combine. Go to MattBlattKiaNJ.com for complete details. Expires 8/7/22. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 and Toms River.
A town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is 97.3 ESPN, home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
He is hit. He stumbles. He's down.
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN presents the Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with 97.3 ESPN.com's Andrew DiCecco.
My first allegiance is what will be best for the Philadelphia Eagles and our fans for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Blatt Kia Studios. It's Football at 4.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM. Football at 4. Yes, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. The latest edition of the pod dropped this morning. Latest on Eagles training camp with Adam Capel and Jeff Mosher. And today, joining us, covers the Eagles, the NFL draft for InsideTheBirds.com. It is Andrew DiCecco, as every team is in camp, and that means let the speculation fly, because we still have a month to the actual game starting. Andrew DiCecco joins us now for Football at 4 here on 97.3 ESPN. Andrew, how you doing today?
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Pretty good. So here's where I want to start with you, because obviously in football world, quarterback is a hot topic. So I want to just put it on the tee for you, and you run with it, and that is this. What is a realistic expectation for Jalen Hurts' development in year 2 in this Sirianni offense?
Well, I mean, I think that he's going to have a lot more responsibility this year. You know, it's been lost in the whole offseason that he spent some time working with Tom House, a renowned quarterback coach who's worked with Tom Brady and many others. Jalen's put in the work in the offseason. Now we need to see if he's able to refine some of his skill set now that he's had a full season in the system and continuity within the coaching staff. Obviously, the verbiage is going to be the same, but there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of differences as far as what he's going to be asked to do. I think now that I thought that now is when you're really going to see them take the training wheels off. And I want to see if he's able to make those tough throws in the tight windows, be able to develop that rapport with his receivers, be able to see the entire field, not be so quick to bail from the pocket, and just become more aware of what's going on around him, right? I mean, I think that as a young quarterback, sometimes I think that he saw pressure that probably wasn't even there, and actually many times it wasn't there, and he was very quick to sort of utilize his legs to get outside the pocket and create yards in that way, rather than hanging in there, driving on the football and delivering it to an open receiver. So there's so many different things that I think that you're going to see a lot of difference in his game this year. And now I want to see if he's able to, obviously you need to see if he's good enough to make those adjustments, and time's going to tell. But I mean, early indications are that you're starting to see a lot of different improvements in Jalen as far as mechanics and things of that nature.
Now, based on what you said, how much of the growth of Jalen Hurts from last year to this year is a reflection of just a normal quarterback's development and growth, and how much of it is part of what his real potential is? Because I know there's a difference between, everyone gets a little better from year to year, right? It's football. It's either professional athletes. They're working all off season long. But how much of also is this a reflection of Jalen Hurts growing into his ultimate potential?
Yeah, listen, and I've said this last season, he's a young quarterback finding his footing as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. I think that a lot of times you're so used to seeing these quarterbacks like Pat Mahomes and so on that have this instantaneous success, or they're the depiction of what many envision or think that a franchise quarterback should look like, when in fact it really does take time for everything to come together. Every player sort of develops at their own pace. And I think you saw the second half of last season, Jalen Hurts become a little bit more comfortable within the offense, and his mechanics got a little sharper. And I think a lot of that had to do with him really being able to dial things in and become more comfortable within the system and what's being asked of him and the coaching staff that surrounded him. And I think that he's a classic case of a young quarterback. It just takes a little bit of time for things to come together. And, I really am going to be hyper-focused on what he's able to do in training camp and in the preseason, just in terms of, working through progressions and putting the football in position where the receivers can make a play after the catch and seeing the entirety of the field. I mean, there was a lot of plays last season that he left on the field as far as open receivers. Sometimes there were touchdowns that he left, and the offense had to punt. And I think that comes with just maturity and reps and just being able to trust in your offensive line and the players that you have out there. And I think that you're going to see a vastly improved Jalen Hurts this season. I truly do believe that.
Now, when you say vastly improved, what do you believe would be a symbol of that? Are we talking about, just more touchdowns? Are we talking about a better completion percentage? Are you saying the Eagles win one or two more games? Because, a lot of fans out there, they're trying to wrap their head around what is a realistic expectation when A.J. Brown and Nick Sirianni and all these people are saying, Jalen Hurts has made improvements. Well, what is something you think is a tangible measure of that?
Extending drives, finishing drives off with a touchdown instead of a field goal, not leaving plays on the field, which happened too often last season. I think just maximizing the weapons that you have to the fullest potential. I think that they have the potential to be a very high-octane passing offense, and there's no excuses for Jalen this year. I think he needs to be able to find a way to incorporate all the pieces in there and find a way to really manufacture touchdowns instead of punting the ball, not seeing guys, erratic passes. And I think that if you look at that as a barometer I look at that as a barometer for success, just being able to be more consistent and have the offense have some more of a semblance of a rhythm to it.
Andrew DiCecco writes for InsideTheBirds.com, joining us here on Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, Andrew, a couple other things we're watching in training camp. We know who the two outside receivers are going to be. We know it's going to be A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. But a lot of people want to know, where does that leave Zach Pascal, Quez Watkins? Does Jalen Reagor even make this team? What are your thoughts on the receivers not named Brown and Smith?
Well, to me, I think Quez Watkins is the clear-cut number 3. I think he has a chance to be even better than he was last season. I think you're going to see a lot more explosive plays. He may even be able to thrive as a vertical slot this season with people being so hyper-focused on Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. I think you're going to see Quez have a lot more real estate to work and a lot more explosive plays coming in his direction. So I like what he brings from a skill set standpoint to complement what they already have. Then when you look at Zach Pascal, I think he slots in quite nicely as a number 4. I think he's going to be a situational player that's going to factor into the red zone and blocker and to have. So I think that he's going to have his role, but it's not going to be as large as maybe it was when he was pressed into duty with the Colts. And then where does that leave Jalen Reagor? I think Jalen Reagor becomes the 5th by default and a punt returner if he's able to seize that role.
So let's say Reagor does seize that role, because, every Eagle fan, they hate him. They should have drafted Jefferson, all that kind of stuff. So what would be in your mind if Jalen Reagor makes this team and he's your primary punt returner and he's your number 5 receiver? What is in a good year for Reagor compared to what he's done in the past?
I think being able to make plays on the ball is in your direction. I mean, you look at the Giants game last season, he had opportunities to really emerge as a hero from that game, and it was right in his hands, and that certainly didn't help his narrative at all. I mean, I think being able to make the plays when they're there, you have to capitalize on that. I also think a couple explosive plays here and there, if you have a little bit more creative play calling, get him the ball in space, I think that's going to work wonders for his confidence and how he's viewed from the fan base. Do I think he's going to have a big role? No, but I think that he can be a contributing piece to the offense if he's used properly and if he can get out of his own way, right? I think sometimes it's a confidence thing. I think he gets in his own head a little bit there, and I think it's sort of like a give and take type of thing with Jalen, and I think that now there's not really a whole lot of pressure on him because you have the clear-cut 1, 2, and arguably a 3rd receiver. Now he's able to really work on whatever it is that he feels he needs to work on as a receiver, which, depending on who you ask, is a multitude of things. But I think he can sort of play a little bit more free and let his natural athleticism take over. Now, are the Eagles going to be happy with a first-round investment being the 5th receiver? I highly doubt that. But I think they would take any return of investment at this point in his career. And he could also be, depending on how far he tumbles down the depth chart, Josh, he could also be a viable candidate to be traded if there's a proper market for him. I could easily see a player-for-player deal, maybe a player on another team that hasn't worked out, or someone who's buried on a pretty stacked depth chart in exchange for Jalen Reagor for just a change of scenery.
Andrews, flip it over to the defense. There's a couple of position battles I'm very intrigued by. The first one I want to ask you about is linebacker. They signed Kazir White. They drafted Nakobe Dean. Davion Taylor's coming off an injury. TJ Edwards was arguably, if not the best, one of their best linebackers all of last year. How do you see these position battles shaking out, and what are your keys you're watching for?
Yeah, I think Kazir White was selected with a reason, with the purpose of being a starting linebacker on this team. And I think ultimately you're going to see, probably in the early goings, you're going to see TJ Edwards and Kazir White. And I think ultimately you're going to see TJ Edwards supplanted by Nakobe Dean just based on athleticism and sheer talent. I think TJ Edwards has a role in this football team. In fact, I'm certain he does. But he's a very one-dimensional player, and I give him all the credit in the world for making the most out of his skill set and refining a lot of areas of his game. But he's not going to become a better athlete, right? I think that he's their most proficient rundown linebacker, and he's going to have a role, and he sets the tone, and he's a tackling machine and all those good things. But I think when you look at the way the NFL is trending, you really need to have your best athletes out there. I think if the Eagles had it their way, it would be Davion Taylor and Nakobe Dean by the midway point in the season. But there's too many question marks with Davion Taylor. I think that he can be an adequate third linebacker and step in there because he's really had a history of injuries, which is unfortunate because he started to emerge last season. But I do think that Kaiser White is coming off his best season with the Chargers last year, and I think that they obviously identified him as being a player that they can step right in and help. And then I think that Kobe Dean, just based on talent alone and his blitzing proficiency and just his football intelligence, it lends itself to him being inserted into the lineup a little bit earlier than a third-round rookie might ordinarily be. So I think that's how it's going to ultimately shake out. And the linebacking core is completely revamped, and I think it's for the better. I think you have a lot of different guys that have these different skill sets that all complement one another. Now it's about, that's great to have on paper, but now it needs to translate on the football field. But they have done enough, in my opinion, to really augment that linebacking core, which has really just been a sore spot perpetually. So now it just needs to see how all these pieces come together to make a formidable second level.
Most people know Nakobe Dean because he was on the national championship team at Georgia. What is something that you want people to know about Nakobe Dean, the linebacker for the Eagles, though?
He's just a sharp football player that was sideline to sideline range, and he's going to be a three-down linebacker for this football team. And I think he's going to pick things up and become a starter and a presence on that defense and a leader on that defense early on in his career. He's that good of a player and arguably one of the steals of the draft. And he's going to make that second level infinitely better. And I think it's only a matter of time before he takes over. I do think it's going to be sooner than later.
Andrew Swift shifts into the secondary. We all know it's Bradbury and Slay on the outside. We all assume it's Avonte Maddox, I should say. Not Asante, Avonte Maddox in the slot. But what about the safeties? What are your thoughts on Tart, Harris, Epps, Wallace? There's basically only going to be two safeties on the field, but there's potentially four guys competing for two spots.
Yeah, well, let's get Wallace out of the way first. He's a player that I mentioned on this show over the past few seasons. Is someone that when he was coming out of Clemson, I never was allured by the name, by the school Clemson, and just knowing that he played safety. Obviously, he's always going to draw parallels to one Brian Dawkins, but C.J. Gaddis has been there before too, and he didn't pan out either. But Kayvon Wallace is a one-dimensional player that has had opportunities to really step up and carve out a larger role on defense, but injuries have hampered him, and his limitations have shown. He's more of a box type of player, not a post safety, doesn't have that fluidity or range to his game. He's best suited right now to be a number 4 and a special team standout if he's able to do that. Remember, Andre Stacheret is there as well, and I think that he's a multifaceted defensive back that's arguably one of the best special teams players in the NFL. So I don't know how. I think Kayvon Wallace, I wouldn't pencil him in for a roster spot. He still has to go out there and earn it. Now, Marcus Epps is a player that I do believe will be a starter for this team this season, and very smart player. He makes up for his lack of athleticism with football intellect, tenacity. He knows where to be. He flows to the football. He's tough. He's fearless. And it really says a lot that two different defensive coordinators, and Jim Schwartz and Jonathan Gannon now, have put a lot on his plate and have given him a lot of responsibility and trust. And I think that really shows that they believe in him to carry out his responsibilities at a high level, at least in their eyes, which is what's most important. But as far as the interesting one for me is Harris versus Jaquiski Tart. And when I look at that, yes, Harris initially, I would say I thought that Harris had the upper hand and the advantage because he's coming with a background in Gannon's system, and he's slightly young. He's not much there, but I look at his experience within the system and how that would maybe be a little bit more of a gradual process for Tart to catch up, whereas Harris already has that knowledge. But Tart is the better player. Now, he's also struggled with injuries in his career. But I think when you look at in terms of athleticism, and he can be that back-end enforcer, which they really don't have in the need. That's him. He's a big hitter, tone setter type of guy. A little bit more. He runs a little bit better, covers a little bit more ground than Harris. I think Harris is a little bit one-dimensional in this part of his career. He doesn't have the lateral agility or the speed that he can be a post player effectively or consistently. So I think Tart will probably ultimately win that over. And I think that his veteran experience is ultimately going to help him catch up and learn the system pretty quickly. And then I think you're going to see it materialize before our eyes in the preseason. I think he's kind of going to supplant Anthony Harris there. And I think Harris is certainly going to have a role. I just don't know how, to what extent. But I think you're going to probably see Tart and Marcus Epps as your safeties, starting safeties.
Andrew, one more before I let you go. I want to ask you about Brandon Graham coming off the injury. Everyone who's seen him says he looks great. He himself says that his recovery from the Achilles has been a lot better than the recovery from the knee. So what is a realistic, fair expectation for Brandon Graham coming into this year, into a defense that is very different than what Jim Schwartz was running a couple of years ago?
Well, Brandon Graham is a pro's pro. He's a smart guy. He gives everything he's got. I think you're going to see the same Brandon Graham that you've always seen from what I've gathered. He's moving around pretty well. He's made a remarkable recovery as far as, coming off an Achilles at that age is pretty remarkable. So I think you're going to see, you might see a little bit of a slow start to the season, not the usual explosive Brandon Graham that we're accustomed to seeing. But I think by and large, Josh, you're going to get the same Brandon Graham that you've always got. And, it might not be double-digit sacks, but I think he's going to step up as a leader on this defense and amid a host of players that are coming in from different systems and different backgrounds. I think you're going to see Brandon Graham step up and really lead the charge there and be the player that we've always known him to be. Now, I don't know that he's going to reach the double-digit sacks, like I said, but I think he's going to be a productive player for this defense.
Andrew DiCecco at DiCecco NFL on Twitter. Check out all of his coverage of the Eagles over at InsideTheBirds.com. And he joined us today for Football at 4. Andrew, enjoy the rest of your day and stay cool. It's still hot outside.
Yeah, man, you too.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM. Hanging out with you till 6 o'clock tonight. Still to come, I'll give you my list of the top college football games I'm looking forward to this year as we are 30 days away from the start of the college football season. Plus, we will be joined coming up at 5:25 tonight. Some thoughts on over-unders, different things with who is going to win divisions, thoughts on different teams in the NFC East. Katie Mox from Moxie Bets joins us coming up at 5:25 tonight here on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
When you need live sports play-by-play.
Forget it. Out of here. Reese Hoskins will touch them all over that right center field wall.
And the best sports talk in South Jersey. There's only one place to go. 97.3 ESPN.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. SpringfieldMitsu.com.
I want to make the most of summer without breaking the bank. So I shopped Kohl's Friends and Family Sale. With my 25% off coupon, I headed to the store and got shorts for $14.99, plus an extra 50% off a swimsuit, 40% off patio furniture, and $20 off as a Kohl's Rewards member. More style and more savings for the win. Select styles, $20 off of $100 valid in-store only. 25% offer ends July 31st in-store only. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise in the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback. And by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup.
And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay. Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm onto something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
School's out, but we are rewriting the math. 0 plus 0 equals one heck of a great deal at Matt Blatt Nissan. That's right, 0 down, 0 payments for 3 full months, and 0 mistaking. That only Matt Blatt Nissan has brand new 2022 Nissan Armadas, discounted $5,000 off, plus buy with peace of mind with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Don't see your Matt Blatt Nissan on the lot? Don't worry, you could be driving it home tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Plus, if you're stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. With 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 1.9% financing. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through NEMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $479 doc fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 8/7/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Powered by NJM. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Kelly. Here's what's happening in South Jersey. Spirit Airlines will be merging with JetBlue Airlines to form the 5th largest domestic airline. What effect it will have on Atlantic City operations, still unknown. Regulatory approval of the merger not expected until sometime in 2024. Spirit Halloween's flagship store in Egg Harbor Township opens for the season this weekend. That's the Halloween season. And a South Jersey dog owner is offering a $3,000 reward for the safe return of her Rottweiler. Details on these and more stories on our app.
You finally got that new car, so you called your insurance company.
Your call is important to us. Please hold.
We are the Tippy Top Workshop Insurance.
You ended that call with their jingle stuck in your head. Then you called NJM.
Thanks for calling NJM Insurance. This is Claudia. Let's see if we can save you up to 25% on your auto insurance.
No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Visit NJM.com for a quote.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Both this evening and tomorrow evening could bring some stormy weather. Showers and thunderstorms look broken to scattered, but given how juicy the atmosphere is, heavy rain, gusty winds, crazy lightning are possibilities, so keep an eye on the sky. The rest of tonight will be muggy. Low temperature only falls to 75. Mostly cloudy and 88 tomorrow with those late-day thunderstorms. We lose the humidity for the weekend. Highs in the 80s. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
This summer, it's playtime in Atlantic City. Play all day, play all night, and always play to win. Visit AtlanticCityNJ.com to press play and win big.
Now, back to more Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
Four o'clock hour of the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank Seattle City. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill. 4:28 on a Thursday. This hour being brought to you by Garden State Beer Company. At Garden State Beer Company in Galloway, Their motto is a beer for everyone. Contact them today at 609-232-BEER. That's 609-232-BEER. We'll talk more NFL throughout the show. Katie Mox from Moxie's Bets, the podcast, produced by Omaha Productions and ESPN, will join us coming up at 5:25. Of course, we'll take your guys' thoughts, comments throughout the show. 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Don't forget, tomorrow, it's going to be a very busy day here on 97.3 ESPN. Happy Hour Friday. So that means we got Ryan Rothstein and Pete Thompson and Jeff Mosher and Jeff Kerr. And then tomorrow night is the Dutch Hoffman lifeguard races with Billy Schwein. So very, very, very busy day for me tomorrow. And of course, you can hear everything here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Mike Gill is back on Monday for the Sports Bash. You got one more day of me this week filling in on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, as promised, I wanted to bring this, guys, for you because, ESPN on TV has been making a big deal today about, 30 days to the start of the college football season, right? So I thought, why don't I try to make a list of the top college football games I'm looking forward to this season? And I'll bring that here to you guys on 97.3 ESPN. Now, I was originally going to do a top 10. But as I started writing this list, I realized that if I try to make a top 10, I'm not going to be able to get to just 10. But I realized if I do a top 5, it's just way too little. So instead of putting a numerical number on it, I'm just going to give you guys my favorite games that I'm looking forward to in the college football season this year. And of course, we do college football coverage and picks all season long on Game Night with yours truly, Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM. So going through the schedule, here are the games that I'm looking forward to the most. Since we have 30 days until the start of the college football season. And I got to admit, most of these games will be heard right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Let's start with the weekend, the Labor Day weekend. September 3rd, Georgia versus Oregon. First of all, aside from the fact that this is a game featuring the defending national champions, and Stetson Bennett is back for another year, the starting quarterback, aside from the fact that this is a cross-conference showdown, I love the underlying storyline of this game. The underlying storyline of this game is the former defensive coordinator at Georgia last year is now the head coach at Oregon. Maybe some familiarity will breed some contempt, as to paraphrase the old saying. Look, these are two schools that are built very differently, and Georgia graduated a lot of guys from the team last year. So you have to wonder, Georgia not as good as they were last year against an Oregon team coached by one of their former coaches. A fascinating matchup that can make or break either team's chances of making the college football playoff this upcoming season. The next weekend, I'm looking on September 10th, Alabama at Texas. Two things to highlight. Number one, it's at Texas. So that means that Bama is not going to have their regular full power of their fans behind them. They got to go on the road, and Texas is usually predominantly Texas fans at those games. It's very, very rarely, outside fans invading the space. Number two, former Nick Saban assistant Steve Sarkisian is the head coach of Texas. And in a world now where pretty much every former coach for Saban tries to take shots at him, we'll have to see. Does Sark have the formula to maybe not even beat Saban, but to at least make things difficult for him, because Lane Kiffin has showed you there's a formula to make Nick Saban very uncomfortable when it comes to his former coaches. So we'll see what happens. The next weekend, I got Georgia back on the schedule again. It's Georgia at South Carolina. Now, aside from the fact this is a road game for the Georgia Bulldogs, it's the fact that this is Spencer Rattler, South Carolina. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this game. This is going to be the number one recruit in the country, former number one recruit in the country, versus the former junior college transfer. Stetson Bennett's won a national championship. Spencer Rattler trying to rehabilitate his reputation. Fascinating matchup. This is going to have a lot of people from the NFL watching, because there's still a lot of NFL talent on the Georgia roster, and there's a lot of people who want to know, can Spencer Rattler climb the charts of the top quarterback prospects who go in the next year's draft? Because everyone knows about Bryce Young, for example. He's the Heisman Trophy winner. And a lot of people know of Spencer Rattler, but they got questions about him. So this is going to be a huge matchup for both teams that weekend. Let's jump ahead to October 1st. On my list of college football games I'm most excited about this season, with 30 days and counting to the start of college football season. NC State at Clemson. Huge test for both schools that are producing teams that want to win the ACC championship and get their way into the playoffs. Devin Leary from South Jersey has led NC State to some big wins recently. This squad scores almost 10 more points per game when he's at quarterback than when he's not in the last couple of years. NC State beat Clemson last year, but this year it's at Clemson. I've been hearing all offseason, Clemson's going to be better. Clemson won't be like they were last year. I keep being told how good Clemson is going to be. We're going to find out October 1st, because Devin Leary is a dark horse for an NFL draft prospect. He's not being talked about like some of the other guys. People are not talking about him like Spencer Rattler and JT Daniels and Bryce Young and all these other guys. Jackson Dart, another big name out there. Devin Leary may be a guy who's playing on Sunday that just didn't get the full recognition needed. I'm really looking forward to that game coming up October 1st. Weekend after that, October 8th, Texas A&M at Alabama. It's pretty obvious, right? It's Jimbo Fisher versus Nick Saban. It's all the negative words by both men this offseason coming into this situation. It's the entire SEC's on the line. Texas A&M is another team like Clemson. I've had to hear all offseason, they're better. They've gotten better. Well, this is Alabama. It's put up or shut up time against Alabama. Now, this game is at Bama, so Texas A&M won't have a home field advantage like the Texas Longhorns do. Then, let's jump ahead to October 22nd. Ole Miss versus LSU. You've heard about Brian Kelly and his fake accent leaving Notre Dame to go to LSU. Now, he's going against the Maverick of the SEC. The most dangerous man in the SEC for as long as he coaches at Ole Miss is going to be Lane Kiffin. That dude will constantly have an edge in every game he goes into because he is an offensive mastermind. And he uses that intelligence to not just help the offense, but help the defense. Brian Kelly was brought to LSU to grow and improve their odds in the aftermath of the Ed Orgeron fiasco. Lane Kiffin would be a perfect foil for someone like this. Because he could be the one guy, LSU might be undefeated at this point, let's say, and Ole Miss just strolls in the Death Valley and puts their national championship hopes to death that weekend. The very next weekend, Ohio State at Penn State. I'm assuming this is going to be the Penn State whiteout game. And anytime Ohio State has gone to Penn State, it has been insane. It has been just a must-watch game every single year. And I can't wait to see this because, remember, Ohio State has C.J. Stroud, another quarterback that NFL teams are watching. And Penn State is supposed to have a ton of depth of talent coming into this year. So it's elite quarterback, elite running back, elite wide receiver at Ohio State, supposedly going against a team that has some of the most defensive talent in all the Big Ten. Strength versus strength? Or does it come down to Penn State's quarterback situation? That's been a fiasco for the last several years. We're going to find out a lot about both schools, and that date is October 29th. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Thursday edition of the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. We are counting down 30 days to start a college football season. My top games that you will be able to hear this year on 97.3 ESPN FM that we are going to be watching out for, that I am looking forward to the most. I tried to narrow it down. I got like 30 games I'm looking forward to, but I tried to narrow it down to the games with the biggest stakes. And I tried to remove, your Ohio State, Michigan, your Navy, Army games. Try to take all those traditional rivalries out of it. Try to go a little, big picture, big games here. Let's jump ahead to November 5th, the very next week. The game that I am most curious about is a primetime showdown. Clemson travels to Notre Dame. Don't forget, it was 2020. Notre Dame had a lot of fans. People were very curious. This is one of the first games in the post-pandemic lockdowns that had a lot of fans in attendance. And that night, Notre Dame beat Clemson. It was a huge upset. People were losing their minds after that game. This is now 2022. We're back at the site of the upset. We're back in different environment. No more COVID protocols. No more worrying about masks and all that stuff in the Notre Dame game. This is going to be pure, unadulterated college football fever pitch. And I can't wait to see it because I told you guys earlier, I had to hear a million times about how Clemson is supposed to be better this year. I keep hearing about how Marcus Freeman is going to take that Notre Dame program to the next level, right? Week 10 of the college football season. Prime time, put up or shut up game for a showdown between Clemson and Notre Dame. All right, let's go to November 12th. The game that I am most interested in that weekend is LSU at Arkansas. And here's why. Arkansas was the darlings of a lot of people like me. I have ridden Arkansas the last couple of years like crazy when it comes to my picks week in and week out. In fact, the last couple of years, I'm 10-2 when picking Arkansas in some capacity. Well, LSU, new head coach, new quarterback, supposed to be brand spanking new, but they got to go on the road to a place like Arkansas where it gets loud. And we saw what they did to Texas last year in Arkansas. We know what Arkansas was able to do the last couple of years to teams. I think Sam Pickens has one of his best rosters he's had in a while. LSU on upset notice on November 12th. All right. Couple more weeks to get through for the college football season. Week 12 of the college football season. This is where we start getting into, you got the schools that start having the filler games on their schedule. Maybe not as many competitive games on the schedule. But there's one game this weekend that stands out to me the most. I have heard people tell me that Utah is a dark horse national championship contender this year. On November 19th, they have to travel to Oregon to play the Ducks. And it's defensive-minded coach versus defensive-minded coach. Oregon has not had a defensive-minded coach running their program in over 20 years. And by this point in the season, you know very well who and what your team is. If Utah is going to win the Pac-12 and Utah is going to have a chance at national championship, they got to go undefeated. And part of that means traveling and playing a very talented, well-coached Oregon team on November 19th. One more game for you guys. The next week, it's the weekend before all the conference championship games. And it's usually rivalry weekend. You got the Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama. You got Ohio State, Michigan. You got, Washington State. You got all the major rivalry games that weekend. But there's one game I'm going to highlight that is not usually mentioned on rivalry weekend. Because while everyone's going to be paying attention to Michigan, Ohio State, and Alabama, Auburn, and all these other games, I'm going to step back one day. Black Friday, November 25th. It's a rivalry game that is not going to be hyperly highlighted, but I'm watching it very closely. NC State, North Carolina. That might be the last trip up for NC State. If NC State can run their schedule, they just have to get past their in-state rival, North Carolina, to get to the ACC championship game. Yes, I am intrigued if NC State can go all the way this year because they have the talent. They have a lot of guys returning who didn't graduate, who didn't go to the draft. So I'm curious to find out what happens that weekend. So those are my top college football games I'm looking forward to as we are 30 days and counting the start of the college football season. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Thursday afternoon on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. We'll check in with you guys. I have to say 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Still to come, we'll get into more quarterback talk in the 5 o'clock hour. Plus at 5:25, we'll be joined by Katie Mox. She is the host of the Moxie Bets podcast, which is part of the Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions over at ESPN. We'll talk with her about the NFC East teams, her perspective on the teams, over, under, team win totals. All that and more still to come here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN.
You haven't downloaded the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app? Well, go get it now to follow all the Philly sports teams at 97.3ESPN.com. Powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Did you take those big down payments?
You're darn right I did.
Your Honor, he is breaking the laws of Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. They made it clear. It's a crime to pay more than a dime. Every new Mitsubishi, one dime down.
Take them away. And at Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City, ask for credit amnesty.
If you bring home $350 a week, you could get up to $25,000 in credit. So So, what's the beat on inventory?
Other dealers are struggling, but not Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
40 new Outlanders in stock now.
An entire fleet of new and pre-owned.
New Mitsubishis from just 17 grand.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
In Pleasantville.
They service all makes and models.
Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com. Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com.
New 22 Mirage, 16 Ford, 9 down, $249 a month for 72 months at 3% APR, plus tax tag title to qualified buyers.
I want to make the most of summer without breaking the bank. So I shopped Kohl's Friends and Family Sale. With my 25% off coupon, I headed to the store and got shorts for $14.99, plus an extra 50% off a swimsuit, 40% off patio furniture, and $20 off as a Kohl's Rewards member. More style and more savings for the win. Select styles, $20 off of $100 valid in-store only. 25% offer ends July 31st in-store only. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
O'Reilly. Improve your vehicle's gas mileage and power with Royal Purple Fuel Injector Cleaner at O'Reilly Auto Parts. And right now, buy one 6-ounce bottle and get one free, plus earn double O Rewards points with your purchase. Save money on gas and boost performance with Royal Purple Fuel Injector Cleaner at O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Mom, Dad, I humbly suggest you save some money and shop Amazon for back to school. It's for my growth, meaning my body's growing at an alarming rate. And clothes you buy me this year will be very small very soon. Plus, the clothes I love today will be out of style tomorrow. But at least your wallet doesn't have to be my fashion victim if you shop low prices for school at Amazon. Hopefully this is helpful. Amazon. Spend less, smile more.
How long does it take to tackle a home project? With Angie, you could cross it off your list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need. Indoor or outdoor, repair or redesign, and we handle the rest, sending a top pro to get it done. You don't have to lift a finger, except to tap the screen or click the mouse. Plus, Angie is free to use. So bring us your next home project, and we'll bring it home. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
With GMF financing approved credit, excludes Corvette and prior sales.
Your car will never be worth more than right now at Bennett Chevrolet, because Bennett's paying a minimum $7,000 for any trade, running or not. That's a minimum $7,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And we have our best selection of super clean pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in years. And remember, we're paying a minimum $7,000 for even the worst car on or even off the road. Just think how much more you'll get for a good quality trade. And unlike other dealers, Bennett's not selling new Chevys over factory sticker. Remarkable. Plus, at Bennett Chevy, there's 0% available financing. And we can get you out of your lease early. Any lease, any make, any model. And we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one of ours. For a quick quote, just stop by. There's never any pressure or obligation because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid based on your satisfaction. Find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
The seafood, extraordinary. The value, tremendous. The sunsets, on the house. The Boathouse Restaurant and Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood. Experience the best of the Jersey Shore at Yuri's and the Boathouse.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Wrapping up the 4 o'clock hour, Josh Hennig hanging out with you. Going for Mike Gill on the Sports Bash, 4:52. Boy, I'd be in a lot of trouble if it's still 2 o'clock hour. Woo-hoo. I think I've consumed enough caffeine for the day, that's for sure. Oh, my goodness. We'll get back into the quarterback conversation last hour. For those who didn't catch us in the 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock hours, we had a lot of quarterback conversation earlier today involving Jalen Hurts, involving a lot of different things. So we'll we'll bring that back around for you guys to join the conversation. If you're just listening in now in the 4 o'clock hour or to drive home, 5 o'clock hour here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Don't forget the text board is over for you at 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle. Before we get to the top of the hour, I do want to run it back with part of our Phillies conversation. If you missed my conversation with Scott Lauber from the Philadelphia Inquirer, Phillies beat reporter, he joined us in the 2 o'clock hour. You can catch the full interview coming up during the Best of the Sports Bash in the 6 o'clock hour, so roughly about a little more than 90 minutes from now. But one of the things that Scott Lauber talked about in that hour was that I thought that, there's a lot of Sixer fans who are cringing right now after hearing that interview because, one of the things that Lauber said was, he said, that Dave Dombrowski loves to go look for stars. He goes star hunting almost, basically, like Brett Brown used to say, right? And the reason I bring that up is because Dombrowski himself said that he doesn't know if they can actually go out and, go for the kind of player he really wants. And the reason I bring that up is because I know a lot of people have been critical of Dombrowski and the moves he's made. And I think the one thing Dombrowski has shown in his career is he may not get everything right. But if he does get something wrong, he'll do everything in his power to rectify it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Phillies walk away with multiple players before the deadline. Because one, remember, you can't do the waiver trades anymore. Everything has to be done by the MLB trade deadline or else. That's number one. Number two, look, you may not want to trade Painter or Abel or Ohapi, but Dombrowski's got to make a decision. As we get closer and closer to Sunday and Monday, when he talks to teams about different things, one of the things he has to be honest with himself about is, I can't just make a trade for this year. I got to make a trade for years to come. He was able to do that in a way last year because when he traded and acquired Hans Krause, Kyle Gibson, and Ian Kennedy, they were three different players you acquired. Kennedy's was the 2-month rental. Gibson was an insurance policy for the next season, and Hans Krause is part of your future. We'll find out Dombrowski will do it again.
Saturday on ESPN Radio.
Bogarts, and it is going to disappear into the Boston night.
It's interleague action in Boston as Xander Bogaerts and the Red Sox welcome Christian Yelich and the Milwaukee Brewers, who are fighting for the top of the NL Central.
Yelich, fly ball to deep center field. Gone!
The Red Sox and Brewers. Coverage begins Saturday at 3:30 Eastern.
Listen to Major League Baseball on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
Alert! We're under construction at Sport Hyundai in Egg Harbor. It's time to make room for our new and improved facility. And you're the big winner. We're clearing out inventory with our incredible construction reduction sale. New Santa Fe's, Tucson's, and more in stock and priced to move today. With Hyundai Assurance and America's best warranty, including the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Use our main entrance on Black Horse Pike. Construction reduction deals are once in a lifetime, and this inventory won't last. See for yourself in person or at sporthyundai.com.
Did you book the Townsend's 10th anniversary ticket?
Alona's travel agency is overbooked and experiencing delays. She needs to land a new project manager to clear her business's runways.
Yes, Mrs. O'Hara, we checked. Pygmy goats do not count as emotional support animals.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
O'Reilly! Stay cool this summer with AC Pro and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get a $15 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro ready-to-use refrigerant products that include a hose and gauge. Beat the heat before you hit the road with AC Pro at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hear ye, hear ye. Thanks for coming to the town square. First, I'd like to tell you about Steve. He's a plumber. I hear he does good work. Also, Tim. He's this new thing called a dentist. Oh, and Monica, she has a new vegan restaurant. I didn't even know that was a thing yet. Anyway, if you need those things, just wander around town and try to find them because the internet hasn't been invented yet, so I don't know.
This isn't the olden days. Now, word of mouth has gone online. At Town Square, South Jersey, we can show you how to harness the power of your existing word of mouth and amplify it online. Go to townsquarelocal.com for a free local customer analysis, where you can see how many local customers in South Jersey you could reach online. Visit townsquarelocal.com and be the Town Square today. That's townsquarelocal.com.
I want to make the most of summer without breaking the bank. So I shopped Kohl's Friends and Family Sale. With my 25% off coupon, I headed to the store and got shorts for $14.99, plus an extra 50% off a swimsuit, 40% off patio furniture, and $20 off as a Kohl's Rewards member. More style and more savings for the win. Select styles, $20 off of $100 valid in store only. 25% offer ends July 31st in store only. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Progressive knows that most people don't get to experience making a game-winning touchdown or a walk-off home run. So we're going to talk to you like you did something great so you can bask in the glory.
Oh man, I was there. That time that you bundled your home, auto, motorcycle, and other vehicles with Progressive? That was awesome. People were freaking out. I bet you get this all the time, but can I get an autograph?
If you can't bask in sports glory, at least you can bask in the glory of saving money when you bundle your home and other vehicles with Progressive. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
School's out, but we are rewriting the math. 0 plus 0 equals one heck of a great deal at Matt Blatt Nissan. That's right, 0 down, 0 payments for 3 full months, and 0 mistaking. That only Matt Blatt Nissan has brand new 2022 Nissan Armadas discounted $5,000 off, plus buy with peace of mind with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Don't see your Matt Blatt Nissan on the lot? Don't worry, you could be driving it home tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Plus, if you're stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. With 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 1.9% financing. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through NEMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $479 doc fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 8/7/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Sports is what we do.
You're in your car, you're in your house, you're wherever you are. You're a sports fan.
97.3 ESPN.
Because if you weren't a sports fan, you wouldn't be listening.
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Blatt Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennig driving you home on the Sports Bash, 5 o'clock hour, 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Take it wherever you go. Listen to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill or yours truly, Josh Hennig, on game night, Monday through Friday. Also, Billy Schwab in the locker room on the weekends, all part of the great things you could do with the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Listen to shows, read articles at 97.3 ESPN.com. You can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. All that and more here with 97.3 ESPN. Coming up in about 25 minutes from now, well, a little less than that, we will talk with the host of Moxie Bets, produced by Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions. Katie Mox will join us coming up this hour to talk NFL win over unders and her perspective on projecting the NFC East. Plus, I got some text to get to as well over at 609-403-0973. I got a text earlier in the show from Tom in the Village I thought was very interesting. So we will get to that. But before we get too far down the rabbit hole with anything, I just want to reset the table for everybody who's tuning in now. First of all, thank you for joining the conversation today on the Sports Basher on 97.3 ESPN. So one of the things we've been talking about this week is about quarterback. It's a time of year that, all those articles with, quarterback tiers and rankings and anonymous quotes and all these things come out. And then the news came out about what Kyler Murray has in his contract that requires him to have a minimum of 4 hours outside the facility per game week to prepare for the season. And if he doesn't get the minimum 4 hours each week during game weeks, he could lose guaranteed money in his contract. Well, one of the things that we've been talking about this week in relation to all these quarterbacks, because when we discuss who's the better quarterback, how you grade them, one of the things that, both Ryan Rothstein and I agreed on earlier this week is that more often than not, you have to, and I mean that in all sincerity, but you have to have a balancing act between the eye test with the intangibles, the things that only your eyes can show you, and the tangibles, the things that have to do with stats. And, Kyler Murray was very vocal today about his situation. I'm not going to replay the full audio because we played it earlier in the show. But the biggest thing that he said in there, first of all, like I said, I give Kyler credit for speaking from his heart and going up there with no teleprompter, no script, none of that stuff. So a lot of respect for him. I really appreciate the way he handled his business today. But the problem with Kyler is that he never answered the real question that we have. Look, you can tell us all you want that it's disappointing, it's frustrating, that you refuse that people question your work ethic and all that stuff. But the reality is that the reason why this is even being discussed is because you signed a contract with a clause demanding that you spend more time outside the facility preparing and studying to play football. And there wouldn't be that clause in your contract if you were a different person, if you handle your business differently. Okay? Look, you don't see that clause in Russell Wilson's contract. You don't see that clause in Aaron Rodgers' contract. You don't see that clause in fill in the blank random rookie quarterback's contract. Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, Justin Herbert. You don't see when they gave guaranteed $230 million to Deshaun Watson, they put a study clause in his contract. And that's the real reason why there are tiers to this stuff. Because when we have the conversation about what is Jalen Hurts, what is Jalen Hurts' potential? I said at the moment that Kyler Murray news came out last week about that contract, my first question was, what does that mean for Jalen Hurts? Because if Jalen Hurts takes that next step, like we've heard Nick Sirianni and his best friend A.J. Brown have said, and what's expected, he worked with Tom House, the famous quarterback guru. He's worked on his mechanics. He's improved in all these different areas. Quincy Avery, his one quarterback coach, said that, the improvement that Jalen Hurts has made has been leaps and bounds from when he came to Alabama to what he is now in the NFL. If all these people are true, if everything they say is right, what does that even mean? And that's really where the rubber meets the road for me. Because, look, you can be pro or anti Jalen Hurts all you want. But the reality is that he accounted for a huge chunk of the Eagles' offense last year. You're talking about a guy in Jalen Hurts that was on an Eagles team that was one of the best in the NFL at running the ball. And for a lot of people, that's a problem because in today's NFL, they're expecting everyone to chuck the ball around the field. The problem is that even the quarterbacks that you think are out there chucking the ball around the field are not as good as you think they are. And why is that? Well, it's because of fantasy football. Fantasy football has adulterated our ability to objectively measure these quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts accounted for 16 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns. So for his team last season, a team that finished 12th in the NFL in points per game at 26.1 points per game, which is the most they have averaged in about 4 years last year under Nick Sirianni. The reality is that Jalen Hurts by himself accounted for, when those 26 touchdowns, he accounted for more than half of the team's touchdowns produced last year. The Philadelphia Eagles last year had a grand total of 45 touchdowns scored between the passing and rushing offenses. And Jalen Hurts accounted for 26 of them. That means that there were only 19 touchdowns scored that didn't come out of his hand or weren't in his hand running into the end zone. So what does that mean for him in year 2 in Nick Sirianni's offense? The expectation he's going to get better. Well, let's say he does get better. What does that look like? 22 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 25 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. See, I've always been the kind of person where the one stat that matters a lot to me is the touchdown to interception ratio. Look, Donovan McNabb is the greatest quarterback in Eagles franchise history. But Donovan McNabb had a 59% completion percentage. Now, you may say, well, how much of that was Donovan? How much of that was the receivers he had? How much of that was his own inconsistencies? And by the way, that 59% is not including his time with the Vikings or Washington. That's only with the Eagles, that 59%. So what does that mean for Donovan? Does that mean he's he sucks category? No. Because the reality is that measuring a quarterback, the completion percentage, the touchdown to interception ratio, which Donovan was plus 117, by the way, a number that makes Eli Manning look horrible, by the way. Eli Manning touchdown interception ratio, not good. Donovan McNabb is plus 117. Donovan McNabb never won a Super Bowl. Eli Manning's touchdown interception ratio is similar to Donovan McNabb's. But you know what he has that Donovan doesn't? 2 Super Bowl rings. Donovan McNabb is plus 117 on the touchdown interception ratio. Eli Manning is plus 122. Eli Manning has a career 60.3% completion percentage. Donovan McNabb has a 59% completion percentage. So is Donovan McNabb automatically a bum because he never won a Super Bowl? No. So how do I translate that for Jalen Hurts? Well, I think there are some people out there that no matter what I say, they're going to want to jump in and text in at 609-403-0973 on the text board. They're going to DM this to the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. They're going to want to tell us if Jalen Hurts doesn't win a Super Bowl, fill in the blank adjective that's negative about it. That's not how I measure quarterbacks. Because for me, there are two things that matter way more about Jalen Hurts' development than just him winning a Super Bowl. Number one, does he become a better pocket passer? Because the evolution he had from his time at Alabama to that 1 year at Oklahoma was exponential. He went from being a guy who could barely make a decision in the pocket, a guy who literally had to be told where the options were and just go to option one, option two, or run at Alabama, to a guy who completed 69% of his passes at Oklahoma, a guy who became extremely better at pre-snap reading of a defense, and a guy who looked way better as a passer, as a quarterback at Oklahoma. So what does he do now in year 2 of Nick Sirianni with his best friend at wide receiver? Does he take that next step? I need to see it visually, and I need to see it produced on the stat line. Because the other part of the conversation is the thing that some football fans hate it when the football junkies like me bring up. Because they themselves are not football junkies. They themselves are people who say they love football, but they don't actually fully understand football. They just love the concept of football because everybody else loves football. And that's this. Intangibles. The intangibles are what make the difference between Kirk Cousins and Matthew Stafford. The intangibles are what are the dividing line between Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. The intangibles are why when Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson were both in college, why Deshaun Watson won a national championship and Lamar Jackson won a Heisman. Because you have one set of guys who have the it factor, who have the, to sound corny, the eye of the tiger, right? They have the look in their eye that when the game is on the line, when push comes to shove, when their team is facing adversity, they have a look like, I'm going to win this game. And even the times they don't, because of who and what they are, that they have the ability to be great. And they have the ability to elevate. Okay? It's why Joe Burrow led the Bengals to the Super Bowl. And why Baker Mayfield got traded to the Carolina Panthers. Because Joe Burrow has that look in his eye when everything is falling around with his team. When his offensive line can't block me and anybody else blitzing him last year. Joe Cool handled the pressure, came through again and again when his team needed. And when I look at Jalen Hurts, I see a guy who has the it factor. He has something intrinsic to him that differentiates him from Tua Tagovailoa. Look, when push came to shove, we saw at Alabama and now at Miami that Tua is inconsistent as they come when the biggest moment is out there. Everyone hangs on to the game when he came in the second half in the national championship game for Jalen Hurts, but people can really forget all the other games that came after that. And what came after that was a guy with mixed results. And the reason why Tua didn't go number 1 overall is because Joe Burrow put together a resume for the ages. And the reason why the Chargers were thrilled when Justin Herbert dropped them is because arguably before that season, Justin Herbert was believed by some to be the consensus number 1 quarterback in that draft class. And while Justin Herbert has not reached the postseason like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert has shown you that in those 2-minute drills, in those clutch moments, that they can make those big plays, make those big throws, and that he can be great. There is something special about Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow that I just haven't seen in the eyes of Tua Tagovailoa, that I haven't seen in his body language. I trust Kyler Murray more than I trust Tua. And I trust Russell Wilson more than I trust Kyler Murray. There's tier to these things. So for me, Jalen Hurts falls into a category of there is a higher ceiling for him than certain other players because the players see him. They believe in him. They follow him. Am I the only one who thinks that Tyreek Hill is gassing up Tua way too much down in Miami? It's almost like every time Tyreek Hill speaks, he's trying to convince you, the listener, and himself talking that Tua is great. It's like he's going out of his way to convince you, oh, Tua's a man. Tua's great. I haven't seen Tua do it. I mean, for Tyreek Hill to go out there and tell you that Tua is better at certain things than Patrick Mahomes is insanity. Patrick Mahomes has hands down one of the 3 best throwing arms in all the NFL. Tua isn't even in the top 15. Don't give me that malarkey, Tyreek Hill, because by the end of the year, you're going to be crying about the fact that your stats were not as good as they were with Patrick Mahomes because you wanted big money and a nice house and a big car and a big pool and a big backyard and a big everything. A nice house, a big house, a nice car. Tyreek Hill, everybody. Craziness. Look, how many times have, you heard someone like me or someone bring up, look, give me the guy with the intangibles over the guy with all the talent. And that's why I believe in Jalen Hurts. Now, whether I'm going to be right or wrong, we're going to find out this year. But I tend to lean on the side of the guy with the intangibles over the guy with the talent. Because while Kyler Murray has a clause in his contract that demands him to independent study, Jalen Hurts is being praised for his work ethic left and right. And while Tyreek Hill is gassing up his quarterback left and right, guys like Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert are just quietly doing their job. Talk more NFL coming up next. Over-unders for the NFL season. Which one should you hit? Which one should you not? We'll ask the hosts of Moxie Bets on Omaha Productions at ESPN, Katie Mox, next here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Thursday.
The best way to wake up is with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings at 6 on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
The seafood, extraordinary. The value, tremendous. The sunsets, on the house. The Boathouse Restaurant and Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood. Experience the best of the Jersey Shore at Yuri's and the Boathouse.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. An oil change with quality oil like Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic can help your engine get more out of every mile. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $35.99. Get what you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Where did I put that? Pete's property manager just took an extended vacation.
To see the dreams.
He needs a replacement before this becomes a cruel summer.
Oh, you wanted the lakefront for the 17th? How did this get double booked already?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
I want to make the most of summer without breaking the bank. So I shopped Kohl's Friends and Family Sale. With my 25% off coupon, I headed to the store and got shorts for $14.99, plus an extra 50% off a swimsuit, 40% off patio furniture, and $20 off as a Kohl's Rewards member. More style and more savings for the win. Select styles, $20 off of $100 valid in store only. 25% offer ends July 31st in store only. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Did you take those big down payments?
You're darn right I did.
Your Honor, he is breaking the laws of Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. They made it clear. It's a crime to pay more than a dime. Every new Mitsubishi, one dime down.
Take them away. And at Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City, ask for credit amnesty.
If you bring home $350 a week, you could get up to $25,000 in credit. So, what's the beat on inventory?
Other dealers are struggling, but not Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
40 new Outlanders in stock now.
An entire fleet of new and pre-owned.
New Mitsubishis from just $17,000.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
In Pleasantville.
They service all makes and models.
Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com. Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com.
New 22 Mirage, 16 Ford, 9 down, $249 a month for 72 months at 3% APR, plus tax tag title to qualified buyers.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Kelly. Here's what's happening in South Jersey. Spirit Airlines will be merging with JetBlue Airlines to form the 5th largest domestic airline. What effect it will have on Atlantic City operations, still unknown. Regulatory approval of the merger not expected until sometime in 2024. Spirit Halloween's flagship store in Egg Harbor Township opens for the season this weekend. That's the Halloween season. And a South Jersey dog owner is offering a $3,000 reward for the safe return of her Rottweiler. Details on these and more stories on our app.
Do you have questions about Medicare? For personalized guidance from a local Medicare expert counselor, call the SHIP hotline. SHIP is the state health insurance assistance program that provides unbiased help to beneficiaries, their families, and caregivers. Free. Call SHIP today at 1-800-792-8820, 800-792-8820, or visit aging.nj.gov. This ad made possible by the New Jersey Division of Aging Services with funds from the U.S. Administration for Community Living.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Both this evening and tomorrow evening could bring some stormy weather. Showers and thunderstorms look broken to scattered, but given how juicy the atmosphere is, heavy rain, gusty winds, crazy lightning are possibilities, so keep an eye on the sky. The rest of tonight will be muggy. Low temperature only falls to 75. Mostly cloudy and 88 tomorrow with those late-day thunderstorms. We lose the humidity for the weekend. Highs in the 80s. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
We're Town Square Media, and along with the awesome radio station you're listening to right now, we're publishers of best-in-class national entertainment brands like Taste of Country, Pop Crush, and more. And when combined with our local brands, we can reach over 70% of consumers in our community. At Town Square, all this digital clout puts us in a unique position to help local businesses grow with powerful marketing solutions. In addition to local radio, we're experts at web design and SEO, plus targetable advertising solutions like streaming TV, addressable geofencing, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, Spotify, search engine marketing, and so much more. That may sound like a lot of buzzwords, but really all that matters is we can deliver a relevant and ideal target audience to your business with data-informed decisions. No guessing, no waste, and you gain a trusted marketing partner with Town Square Media.
Take your business to the next level. Call our Director of Sales, Jim McLean, today at 609-910-5247.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
527 here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. See the 5 o'clock hour of the Sports Bash being brought to you by American Airlines in Atlantic City International Airport. ACY now is your one-stop ticket to over 90 domestic international destinations. Book your next trip today at AA.com. We'll continue the NFL talk now because, well, it's the time of year you want to make sure that whatever you think is going to happen this season and you're going to put some money on it, well, it's better to do it now than wait. And to get more into that is the host of Moxie Bets podcast, produced by Omaha Productions over with ESPN. Katie Mox joins us right now on the phone line here on 97.3 ESPN. Katie, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing so well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on.
I appreciate you jumping on. So before we dig into the exact over or under some of these win totals, I just want to ask you, for a lot of people in this area, you got a lot of Eagle fans, you got a lot of Giant fans, you got those crazy Cowboy fans out there, and you got those Washington fans over there listening in Delaware who are kind of scratching their heads saying, what about us? So what is your perspective on the NFC East?
So it's, the NFC East, I think, is going to be one of the most interesting divisions in NFL this year. And I know that the NFC East gets a bad rap. There are some people, not myself, that call it the NFC least. But this year, there's been a lot of different moves going on. So I'm actually excited to see a lot of these games. Of course, you've got the Cowboys, right, who are favored yet again. Their win total is set to 10.5. Last season, they did have 12 wins. And look, sure, they had the most efficient offense in football last year. They won the NFC East. They are not my favorite to win the NFC East this year. Before last season, it had been 5 years since Dallas had eclipsed 10 wins. And yes, they're used to beating up in their division. I think they're about 18-6, their record against NFC East teams since 2018. But I don't think that's going to happen this year. They were pretty inactive in the free agency market. They traded away Amari Cooper, which I'm sorry, that's going to end up biting them in the behind. And the rest of the NFC East has improved, most notably the Philadelphia Eagles, who I'm sure your listeners really love, and the Commanders. They're healthy again. So if we're looking at the Cowboys, I would not put any money on the Cowboys going over their win total or winning the division this year. So those are my thoughts on the Cowboys. Talking about the Giants here. Oh, the Giants. They've had 5 consecutive losing seasons. Now, they have upgraded their coaching staff and their GM. They did have a pretty good draft, and they invested in their O-line. So they addressed a lot of their needs. However, I still think they're about a year away from being about a year away. They've got Danny Dimes here, who I don't think is the guy. This is the year where he's got to put up and shut up. They've given him everything they could possibly give him. But he's just not that good. His rookie season was okay. He threw for 24 touchdowns. But then the last couple seasons, I think he's had about 22 touchdowns between the last 2 seasons. You got Saquon Barkley, who is amazing, but he's injury prone. You don't really know what you're going to get from him. They do have the 4th easiest strength of schedule, but I would still go under on their win total and certainly not to make any big splash in the division. Again, about a year away from being a year away. And then you've got the Eagles. Now, they're coming off of a very respectable 9-8 season, and they have drawn the 2nd easiest schedule via opponent win totals. But the expectations right now for the Eagles are absolutely soaring. You've got a lot of analysts saying they think they're going to win the division. They traded for A.J. Brown on draft night. Their offense looks amazing. You've got Brown, you've got Hurts, you've got Devonta Smith, who, by the way, I won my biggest bet of my life on Devonta Smith. So big fan of his. But Jalen Hurts, to me, I think, I'm not that he's not the guy, but I'm not sold on him yet. He still makes a lot of mistakes. So I wouldn't put money on the Eagles to win the division. A lot of people are on that. My sneaky pick to win the division is the Commanders at plus 500. They've upgraded at quarterback with Carson Wentz. And I know a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth on Carson Wentz with last year and the Colts losing the last game of the season and not getting into the playoffs to the Jaguars. But he has posted a QBR rating of 93 or higher in 4 of his last 5 seasons. That is higher than any Commanders quarterback since Kirk Cousins. He's got some good weapons with him. He's got Terry McLaurin. He's got Antonio Gibson. And you've got Chase Young returning from injury, which is going to be huge for their defense. Their defense should look a lot more like what we saw in 2020. And I think that they're well coached from Ron Rivera. So at plus 500, I do think that that's a good bet. And I like them over their win total as well.
All right, so let's bounce off of that Eagles stuff because, you're talking about how there's a lot of people who, for lack of a better term, they're gassing up the Eagles. You see them on ESPN, on the TV shows. They're like, yep. Ryan Clark, I love the Eagles roster. You have Mike Greenberg saying, I love Jalen Hurts. Well, right now, I see that over at Caesars Sportsbook, the Eagles are right there at 9. Now, other sports books have them 9.5, but it's pretty much either 9 or 9.5 at a lot of books. So they won 9 games last year. Is that a number that you say stay away, or is that a number that, like, look, they won 9, they should win at least 10 this year?
Oh God, I wish it was at 8.5. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that would be the better bet here. But with 9 games, I mean, I think that the rest of this division is getting better. I think the Commanders are going to be a lot better this year than they were last year. So I would stay away. I would lean under, but I would stay away from this win total.
Now, you said you feel the Commanders can win the division. They're sitting at 7.5 over at Caesars Sportsbook. Does that mean that you say go over on that?
Yes, go over on that for sure. I think they're going to do better. I don't think that the Cowboys are going to do as good as they have. I think the Commanders, again, are a very, very sneaky team. I think people forgot about them because they weren't very good last year, but they've upgraded their quarterback, and their defense should look 100 times better than it did, especially with Chase Young returning. So I feel like this is a low win total for them.
She is the host of Moxie Bets. You can catch it over wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, produced by Omaha Productions with ESPN. Katie Mox joining us here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Let's go to the other division where a lot of people in our area have an eye on because of their teams are there. That's the AFC North. You got your Raven fans in our area. You got your Steeler fans. You got a couple Bengal fans, stragglers out there. So what are your thoughts on that division? Because I think that division, there's one thing we know for sure is we're not 100% sure about half those situations.
Yes. You know, actually, it's in terms of like a long shot to win the Super Bowl, not necessarily what I think is going to happen, but a good long shot bet is the Ravens. I feel like the Ravens are completely overlooked, and people forget that this is they were decimated with injuries last year, but they've always had a solid defense, and they have Lamar Jackson, who is still one of the best quarterbacks, one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the league. Now, I know his contract situation is a little bit weird. He seems to feel fine about it, so we should too. So I do think that the Ravens are going to have a bigger splash this year, and that's someone to keep an eye out on.
Both the Ravens and the Bengals are at 9.5 wins this year. Which team do you feel better about hitting the over?
Ooh, better about hitting the over. I would probably go. I think that we're going to see a little bit of regression. I hate going against Joe Cool. I hate going against Joey B because the kid is a stud, and nobody thought that he was going to get to the Super Bowl last year or that he was going to come back from injury and have this incredible season. So it's hard to get against him. But that division is getting tougher, and I think that the Ravens are going to look more like the team that we expect them to look like. So I would take the Ravens. But my favorite win total, I think, of the entire NFL is going to be the Chargers, and they have a high one at 10. They're at minus 115 right now on Caesars Sportsbook. And I just feel like they've addressed all of their problems on the defense. They added Khalil Mack, and they do have one of the easier schedules ahead of the bye week. When I took a look at their schedule, they've got Seattle, the Jags, the Browns, who likely won't have Watson, although I'm not sure exactly what's happening there, and the Texans. Only the Chiefs and the Raiders are going to oppose a big threat there, but I still think that they can split wins. I have them at 11 wins. I think Chargers over 10. Herbert is an absolute stud. He's my favorite quarterback right now, especially from a Niners fan. You know, you think I would love to say Jimmy G, but of course we finally said that we're letting him go. But he threw for over 5,000 yards last season. He had 38 touchdowns, and they've got a good group of receivers. So I really think that the Chargers are going to be a big threat, and they could possibly win their division.
Well, that kind of falls back into the conversation I was having earlier in the show, Katie, which is, look, you have a guy in Justin Herbert. I think Herbert has that it factor. I think Herbert, Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson, these guys have that look in their eye. Tom Brady, fourth quarter, 2-minute drill, and they just got that look in their eye, like they got it. Listen, I think Justin Herbert's got it. No offense to Jimmy G. He's a nice quarterback. I don't think he's got that it factor.
No, he doesn't. He is a good quarterback. He wins games. I think that he'll find a good home. At least I hope so. I think his shoulder injury kind of held him back from getting traded in the offseason. But to your point, Justin Herbert has that it factor. And I think that this Chargers team is going to surprise a lot of people this year. Now, I know that picking the Chargers at the beginning of the season has been the sexy thing for the last couple of years, and it hasn't necessarily come together. But I think this is their year. Another win total that I would absolutely stay away from is the Lions. So many people are betting on the Lions to have over 6 wins. It's ridiculous. This team had only 3 wins. They were set to 3 wins last season. They only ended up getting 3. It was a push. Now, I know that they almost won many games last season, but the reality is they only bet 3. I feel like people love Dan Campbell. They're buying into Dan Campbell. But at minus 160, you're going to lay that on an over for the Lions? No way.
I believe it's plus 140 for the under. So there's actually some value if you hit that too.
Yes, I'm on the under for that for sure. I mean, I probably will stay away from this one, but I like the under. I like the value plus 140. But the fact that so many people are laying minus 160, this is one of the most popular bets on Caesar Sportsbook is the over for the Lions. At minus 160, people are really betting their hard-earned money on the Lions for an over, which is wild to me.
That's living too a little dangerous for my taste, but you know.
Yes.
I want to get back to the Chargers because so if you are so confident in the Chargers hitting the over, well, from what I see, the Broncos have a 10 win total as well. So does that mean you feel under on the Broncos?
I do. So I'm a Niners fan. So obviously I know the NFC West pretty well. So I am aware of how good Russell Wilson is. And I do think that clearly that is a huge upgrade at quarterback. But if we look at like pretenders versus contenders, I think that the Broncos right now are still a little bit of pretenders. You got Russell Wilson coming in. He's got a new playbook to learn. He's got to figure all that stuff out. You got a new coaching staff, which is great, but you lost Vic Fangio. So you lost your big, defensive prowess. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to look on defense. I feel like it's going to be a while for the Broncos to be a real threat. So I like them under. As much as I respect Russell Wilson, I don't think he's going to come and change the entire team.
Well, listen, I mean, at the end of the day, the quarterback needs the offensive line to block, the receivers to catch, and the defense to actually do their job. We put so much pressure on these quarterbacks. At some point, we got to realize that teams win championships here.
Yep. Exactly. And I look, I don't think that Vic Fangio was a good game manager. I don't think he should have been a head coach, but he's a great defensive mind. And so it'll be interesting to see what their defense looks like without Vic.
I feel like the most controversial team we haven't hit on yet, and that's the Miami Dolphins. I mean, if you ask Tyreek Hill, they're going to win the Super Bowl and Tua is going to be MVP, whereas people like me are still waiting to see Tua do more than throw for, 100 passing yards in a game here and there.
Yes. Well, look, I like McDaniel. I'm a Niners girl. I'm happy that he went there. I think that's very exciting for him. And yes, they made a lot of big moves and they got Cheetah. They got Tyreek Hill. The fact that you have Tyreek Hill sitting there saying that Tua is the most accurate quarterback he's ever seen when he was just with Patrick Mahomes, right. It's like, bro, you are trying way too hard to sell this. And I do think that the training camp conversations are hilarious because it's always like, oh, we got a great group of guys. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. Right. This is the best quarterback I've ever seen. You've got Devontae Adams talking about Derek Carr like he is in the same category as Aaron Rodgers. Like, it's a lot of lip service. It's all the same things. I am not sold on Miami. Sometimes when you get a lot of big names like that and they come into a locker room, we see this a lot with basketball, there isn't always the chemistry there. Like, you look at the Lakers or you look at the Nets. And so I kind of feel like there might be some drama in that locker room, and it's not going to be as good as everyone thinks it's going to be. And I am not sold on Tua at all.
All right, a couple more for you, Katie Mox. She is the host of Mox Bets podcast. Catch her wherever you get your podcasts: Apple, Spotify, Google Play. Of course, that's with Omaha Productions and ESPN joining us here. 2 more things for you. One. And I'm not just saying this because you're a Niners fan, but this is something I really like personally. So I would like it if I could find a way. Like, I know some sports books don't let you do this. Others do. I would love to combine the under 10 wins for the 49ers with them making the playoffs anyway.
Oh, yeah. I like that. So here's the thing. If we had Jimmy G, the fact that I believe the last time I looked at it, the over and the under were both at minus 110. So odds makers didn't exactly know what to do with this. And I'll be curious if that has changed now that Trey Lance has been the designated starter. But I would feel more comfortable actually over 10 wins with Jimmy Garoppolo. For as many problems as there were with Jimmy Garoppolo, we know what he can do with this team. Now, there's a lot of upside to Trey Lance, but the reality is we haven't really seen him play that much. We don't know if he's going. We didn't see him play that much in college. He had two starting games with the Niners. He went 1-1. He played in 6 games. Half of the time, Jimmy Garoppolo actually drove the ball down the field, and they just gave it to him in the end zone to get a touchdown to kind of build his spirits up a little bit. So I expect some rookie mistakes, and I think he's going to start off a little slower. So I actually would lean on the under for this one too, because anytime you've got a rookie quarterback, it's hard to say they're going to have a winning season. But I agree with you that they can still make the playoffs because this is a really good team. We've always been a run-heavy offense, so that could take some pressure off of Lance, and the defense is scary.
All right, before I let you go, now you're the betting expert. I'm just the football junkie. So I'm gonna give you my favorite NFL bet of the year right now.
Okay.
Panthers money line week 1 versus the Browns.
Okay. What are you taking?
I'm going just Panthers outright to win because I think Baker Mayfield's going to start. I think Deshaun Watson's going to be suspended, and I think it's going to be Panthers get the win over Baker Mayfield's former team, and Baker's going to run off the field shaking his fists and telling us about how he woke up dangerous.
I actually love this bet. And I think it's hilarious that Sam Darnold has come out and said, oh, me and Baker Mayfield are cool. We both think our QB1, we're battling it out. And it's like, Sam Darnold, you are not the starting quarterback. It's going to Baker Mayfield. Like, stop. You're seeing ghosts again. Like, this is definitely not happening. And I agree with you. Look, he had a tough, Baker Mayfield had a tough season last year with injuries. He had a career low in passing yards per game and passing touchdowns. But prior to that, he threw for 26 touchdowns and only had 8 interceptions. He's got better weapons. If McCaffrey can be healthy as well, I really do like this. And I don't think that Watson is going, I hope Watson isn't going to be playing. They've got to do something about that. So yeah, I love that bet. Let's go. I'll ride with you. Yeah,
right now it's plus 110 is what last I saw it. So, you might need to get on it before it flips on the book. So
yes.
She is Katie Mox. She is the host of Moxie Bets. Get it wherever you get your podcasts. Download, subscribe, give it the 5-star review. Follow her on Twitter at Katie Mox. And she joined us right here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Katie, great stuff. Appreciate you jumping on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Anytime.
Josh Hennig hanging out with you guys on a Thursday afternoon. We'll wrap up the show on the other side here on 97.3 ESPN.
When you need live sports play-by-play.
Forget it. Out of here. Reese Hoskins will touch them all over that right center field wall.
And the best sports talk in South Jersey. There's only one place to go. 97.3 ESPN.
With GMF financing approved credit. Excludes Corvette and prior sales.
Your car will never be worth more than right now at Bennett Chevrolet. Because Bennett's paying a minimum $7,000 for any trade, running or not. That's a minimum $7,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And we have our best selection of super clean pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in years. And remember, we're paying a minimum $7,000 for even the worst car on or even off the road. Just think how much more you'll get for a good quality trade. And unlike other dealers, Bennett's not selling new Chevys over factory sticker. Remarkable. Plus, at Bennett Chevy, there's 0% available financing. And we can get you out of your lease early. Any lease, any make, any model. And we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one of ours. For a quick quote, just stop by. There's never any pressure or obligation because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid based on your satisfaction. Find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise and the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback. And by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Blue Star medicated ointment works fast to relieve the pain and itch of almost any skin irritation.
It's amazing. It's like as soon as you put it on, you can feel it working. We've had Blue Star in the family for years. It works on everything.
I love the cooling sensation on my athlete's foot.
What a relief for my eczema.
Nothing worked on my dry, cracked skin until I tried Blue Star.
Blue Star is great for scalp itch.
Look for the white box with the Blue Star in the first aid section. Feel Blue Star work fast or your money back.
Hey, I'm Andy.
And every morning I wake up thinking about shaving. When I started Harry's almost a decade ago, the shaving industry was a mess. Flashy, overpriced razors as far as the eye could see. I just wanted a great shave at a fair price. Too much to ask? I didn't think so. And that's why I started Harry's. 10 years and 20 million Harry's customers later, we're still obsessed with giving you a quality shave experience. Sharper blades, a better lubricating strip, and making our handle grippy in all the right places. All upgrades based on your feedback. And it all comes at a great price. Seriously, as low as $2 per cartridge. These days, my mornings are a little bit different. Morning, girls. But I still wake up thinking about shaving. Our starter set has everything you need for a close, comfortable shave. 5-blade German-engineered razor, weighted handle, and shave gel. Get yours now for just $3 with free shipping, backed by our quality guarantee. Just go to harrys.com now and enter code TOWNSQUARE at checkout. That's harrys.com, code TOWNSQUARE.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone. Get in zone, AutoZone. More details at AutoZone.com.
This is a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup sound experiment. We're looking to find the perfect way to hear Reese's so you'll buy more of them. Here we go. Reese's, 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 Reese's. Hey, get out of here, you little stinker. Reese's.
Reese's. Reese's.
Peanut Butter Cups. That breathy one sounded very creepy, am I right?
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the summer fun sale, July 29th through August 8th, and get 35% off paints and stains with prices starting at $27.29. That means 35% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, 35% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your local Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So we're going to use humor. But we don't want to insult your intelligence, so nothing too goofy. And we need to avoid any polarizing topics. Oh, and it has to be about how you can save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. You know what? Maybe humor is a bad idea. Yeah, it's never going to work. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
I want to make the most of summer without breaking the bank. So I shopped Kohl's Friends and Family sale. With my 25% off coupon, I headed to the store and got shorts for $14.99. Plus an extra 50% off a swimsuit, 40% off patio furniture, and $20 off as a Kohl's Rewards member. More style and more savings for the win. Select styles, $20 off of $100 valid in store only. 25% offer ends July 31st in store only. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Where did I put that?
Pete's property manager just took an extended vacation.
To see the dreams.
He needs a replacement before this becomes a cruel summer.
Oh, you wanted the lakefront for the 17th? How did this get double booked already?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
If you want your dental visit to feel like this, try new Crest Densify. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth by remineralizing enamel. Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America.
Now, back to more Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
Final segment of the show, Josh Hennig here, hanging out with you on a Thursday afternoon, 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Man, it has been a full football show, but I would have it no other way. I mean, we talked a lot of NFL, talked some college football, got the Phillies conversation in as well, talked plenty of Eagles. A lot of fun. This is my time of year. I love football, anyone who's listened to me for a while here on 97.3 ESPN, or anyone who knows me knows, football's my game. Football's my sport, Yeah, I like baseball. I enjoy basketball. I like hockey. But of the team sports, football is my number one. By the way, I'm still trying to figure out if this is actually a doable bet. So you heard me telling Katie Mox of Moxie's Bets, the podcast there, that some of these sports books don't let you parlay certain things. So I'm trying to see here what the odds are if I parlay this together. Yeah, see, this one sports book doesn't let you do it. That's a no-go for me. I'm telling you guys right now, if you can find a sports book that can do more than just straight bets, that's probably, going to be a little more fun for you. Again, 1-800-GAMBLER, please bet responsibly. But, the thing is that a lot of these numbers, and you heard Katie say it, some of these numbers are there because they're trying to trick you into making the bet and just kind of sucker you. Like the Eagles, sitting at 9 at certain sports books, 9.5 at others. It's just a manipulation. Now, I do disagree with her a couple of things. One, I think the Eagles hit the over the 9. I think the Eagles win 10 games this year. I agree with her that Washington will hit the over 7.5 this year. And you heard her like my idea, a couple of my ideas there. So I guess I am in football mode right now. Remember, folks, coming up next, no game night. We have Best of the Sports Bash. My conversations with Scott Lauber, Phillies beat writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer. And then, of course, my conversation with Andy McNamara. We talk NFL with him from Sportsnet. Of course, Andy joins me throughout the football season, talk fantasy football and NFL each year here on 97.3 ESPN. By the way, shout out to Joey D. and Ventnor. Joey D. liked the previous segment, although I don't know if Joey liked it because he thought the guest was good or because it was about sports betting. I kid with you, Joey. Joey D is a good guy. I always appreciate Joey. All right. Thanks again to Katie Mox for joining the show from Moxie's Bets over on with ESPN. Thanks again to Andrew DiCecco for Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Andy McNamara from Sportsnet talking NFL. And Scott Lauber earlier in the show talking Phillies ahead of the trade deadline. Remember, the Phillies start a 4-game road trip tonight in Pittsburgh leading up to the trade deadline. Thanks to all of you out there for listening, DMing the show, texting in. I appreciate all of you for tuning in, even those of you who are mad at me for my takes. Have a great night, everybody.
Hi, this is Billy Schwein from The Locker Room. Join me and my co-host, former chief of the Longport Beach Patrol, Dan Adams, and captain of the Wildwood Beach Patrol, Ed Snyder, Friday night from 6 to 8 p.m. as we broadcast the 51st annual Dutch Hoffman Memorial Lifeguard Races live from the beach in Wildwood.
97.3 ESPN's live coverage of the Dutch Hoffman Memorial Lifeguard Races is brought to you by New Jersey's Coastal Insurance Specialists, the Coastline Insurance Agency in Wildwood. By Dino Subs, a Margate landmark since 1964, located at 8016 Ventnor Avenue in Margate. By McCann Realtors, dedicated, experienced, and knowledgeable. A family tradition since 1939 in Sea Isle City. And by Blitz's Market of Ocean City, located at 21st and Asbury. They now have online ordering at blitzesmarkets.com.
Friday night from 6 to 8 p.m. The 51st annual Dutch Hoffman Memorial Lifeguard Races live from the beach in Wildwood.